Welcome everybody to the streets of Long Beach here Saturday, April 11th. Unfortunately, we are within the realms of Forza Motorsport 7. Everyone, welcome to the... I never really came up with a name for this, but we're at Long Beach. This is a tournament put on by Mr. Andy Hateley himself. We got a bunch of really strong names in here. Being joined up in the booth by my co-commentator Ian Plash. Might be other special guests joining us today with Jarod Deanda, but in all terms, we figured here that better than nothing, we would get some boys together, get a little competition running on Forza Motorsport 7 for you guys. Ian, pretty big day here today here at Long Beach. Not every day we get to say that we're running a tournament with some people from Formula Drift involved, but should be a good one from what I've seen so far.
Yeah, this is bound to be a really good time. Always looking to get that drift fix in whenever we are away from our time at the actual racetrack. And, for the time being now, we got a couple of really competent and competitive Forza drifters out there in the scene getting ready to go here. Actually, the first lobby getting set and ready to go as we speak right now. All the drivers working their way around to the starting line. We are just moments away from getting the first bit of our top 32 underway here at Long Beach.
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you guys for having me. This is fun. Man, we should be there live and in person smelling the tires, but this is a good iteration of what is happening with our current climate given the coronavirus. So yeah, we are on the streets of Long Beach in a very unique way, and I love that Andy reached out to me and Westies, and a lot of you guys I've never met, but this is pretty rad to just be part of something that's already been pre-existing. From what I understand, you guys have a great talent in announcing these Forza races, and I obviously do it in person and been the only voice, so thanks for having me.
Excited to see both these guys drive. Corvette, not really a car that you see a lot in competition, but we're going to be seeing two of them here as gate cars out of the way, and we are clear to send. Waiting for that 400 board as they go to Wet For You in the lead. Danny giving chase. Not a bad entry from Wet. Would like to see a little bit more angle from him as he gets out to that first Toyota symbol. Not quite getting the wall. Danny trying to do the best he can in the chase position. Big surge from that red Corvette going through the little power section, coming into the hairpin. Big flick from Wet, but he's going to be a little bit too far inside. Dan right there, never lost him throughout that whole run and across the line. Not a bad run to get all of everything started here. Again, a lot of these guys have been practicing for 2+ hours, just trying to get everything situated, make sure they're on their top of their game as we have the replay going here.
Yeah, so taking a look at this here, you saw 2 Wet For You. You saw him initiate right here, and as you said, he came in a little bit tight. Danny giving him some room. Look at that, 2 Wet. It looks like he is too dry as he gets in traction, shoots in on the inside on that second outer zone. You see him try to bring it out, does not do that. Danny keeps a good amount of distance, avoiding contact. I like the angle that 2 Wet For You throws in around that final hairpin, and Danny looks like he closed the door a little bit, showing he has the control of the vehicle. But overall, I think 2 Wet For You had a good initiation, and like you said, he's been practicing. So Danny, look at that car control right there under the bridge. I mean, really good execution by both these guys so far.
Yeah, as you said, just a little bit, washing out just a little bit on that start, and that's something I noticed through the replay as well, and this is why we have these replays, and we make sure we have that resource. As I saw that lead car maybe drop 1 or 2 tires. We can touch into that when we do our big replay, but there is, again, specific Forza things and little rules that are used in the competitive community. So if you run 2 tires over that rumble strip, that's not just a deduction. That might be an automatic 0. So we have to see what will come up through the judges. Again, I want to look at the replay again myself before I start making calls. But fan out of the way. Danny's going to be leading this time, getting a great start off that start. Wet For You. A little bit of a shallow entry. Good angle from that Corvette up in the lead position, using the foot brake to get it out to that outer zone. Right, very smooth over the touch and goes. Went For You, really trying his best to stay in touch there. Big wide line coming into that hairpin. Danio on another level right now as Wet For You. Not so bad of a run, but buttery smooth and lead is Dandretti.
Love what Danny Gendretti did, man. That was super sick. And you could just tell the difference of practicing and just the fluidity of Danny's line compared to 2 Wet For You. Danny throwing a little bit of piece of flair there towards the end. So taking a look at the replay, Danny just looked more fluid in that lead position as compared to 2 Wet For You overall.
Yeah, the fluidity may really help him out when it comes to judging decisions. Like we said, going to have these replays on screen. Something ironically, as I touched on it, we did see 2 Wet For You get a little bit too much of that curb in that first corner. Got to imagine that's not going to help his chances here as we get our next pair lined up, but we're just waiting for word from our judging staff.
Yeah, the rumble strip in real life is going to be way more damaging to any sort of vehicle or drift vehicle or electronic vehicle that you have. That gator strip in real life will absolutely demo your car. Yeah, too wet for you, not only on his lead run but also on his chase run. Looks like he just bit off more than he could chew, and Danny just super fluid, really good line. I mean, you could see the smoke coming off of his vehicle, and it was just consistent all the way through. Not much wavering. It wasn't glitchy, and no pun intended as far as it is a video game, but it looked very smooth compared to Too Wet. Another
dynamic here on Forza, Dan, and we get official word here. Danny O is going to be getting the win as we have our next pairing up here. Harrison Drifter in the FD RX-7, rotary powered. You don't really see that too often. Very good chassis. A lot of people opting to put an engine swap in there. As Sky is going to be driving the 599 GTO. Guess we have a Federico fan in here. But something that is another dynamic within Forza is the wheel versus controller. So some of these guys have, big sim setups with a racing wheel, and some guys are on here on controllers. The wheel guys do have a bit of advantage when it comes to fluidity and speed, but I've seen a lot of controller guys make up for that by throwing, big angle, snappy transitions. So that's something that, if you're unfamiliar to Forza competitive drifting, that is something you're going to have to take a look at. Watch those front wheels. As we said in the second pairing, in our first half of our top 32, Sky in the lead in that Ferrari. Very big angle as he hits the clutch a little bit there. Harrison will be able to close the gap. He's having a shallow out to stay with Sky. Sky throwing big angle on the wall. Leaving some paint behind, transitioning, going into the hairpin. Sky not quite having the angle, really having to sacrifice to keep that proximity is Harrison. Not a bad run, but again, we're seeing that fluidity up in the lead position.
So from what I understand, Sky is in the FD, or is Harrison
Sky's in the Ferrari.
Okay, so Sky out front. Yeah, I mean, you liked his initiation, threw out some gangster angle. Looks like he threw too much out because it gripped up. And he really shows, screw it, it's a Ferrari. Let's throw it into the wall, right? So, and it's less damaging. So Sky out there in the Ferrari, and then Harrison in the FD. Looks like he keeps some composure, but you can see him tapping the brakes. So doesn't really trust himself as far as kind of keeping his composure in that chase position.
We're just going to get those names switched over for everyone on the broadcast. Again, we like a lot of people, got this call pretty late in the week, so we got something together for you guys that we have a bit better of an experience. But Sky gonna have we assume would have the advantage here, that big Ferrari, but usually the meta in Forza Motorsport is those big heavy GT cars. We're gonna run a really wide rear tire on the back of that car, and you can even with the weight, you can compensate with that just with being smooth and having a bunch of power. So Harrison could be in the lead here. FD, rotary power. Sky right there with him. Not quite the entry that Harrison was looking for, but ends up getting that kind of angle. Hits the wall. Gonna get shoved by Sky into the tire wall. That's gonna be it for him. Sky completing the run, getting his run in on Harrison. Unfortunately, just getting a little bit too excited there in the lead position.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. That tire wall, as Ryan Turk last year saw, he rode off his GT86 or whatever you want to call it, FRS, but the Toyota 86 got into that wall, and it's very unforgiving. When it comes to tapping that wall, it'll bite back. So as you take a look again, Harrison, he little kind of wonky on that chase position, but tries to go for it, and the Sky is right there, shoves him out of the way, says move B, get out the way, and looks like he continues on through the course. So Sky will continue on, I have to assume.
Yeah, looking like Sky is going to get the win here. Again, not really, there was contact, but not really a lot place for him to go, as we're going to have two pretty familiar cars here warming their tires up, getting on the line. AOM Bowtie in the Matt Field S14, and we're gonna have TDR Boy representing Team Drift Royals, Bowtie representing Art of Motion, but TDR Boy in the Alaconadel S14, two cars that Jarod, I feel you're pretty familiar with.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I love these cars. I love the S14. So that, yeah, man. Look at these. These are I love the retro liveries and how quickly you can just bang them out, and people work. I mean, not quickly, because I know a lot of work goes into them, but just the passion runs deep, man. And I love that people are fans of FD and kind of seeing what's going on. And let's get a little bit of color correction here. So the AOM Bowtie, yeah, I mean, This is how do the cars react? I mean, I'd love to. This is my first time, honestly, like watching the you know gaming drifting competition. So I'd just like to gain some more knowledge. I won't ask now, but I'd love to learn more about it because usually I'm at the tracks. So when I come home, last thing I want to do is see more drifting.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the FD, like these two cars specifically, the FD cars, because they're set up for drifting, they're not adapted to drifting like a lot of cars that are in the game. You're limited to tire size and things that you can do setup and tuning wise, but they do have a different tool set in terms of a little bit more lock than you would get with your standard street cars. And obviously they're set up for drifting, but it takes a little bit to adapt them to be able to work with Forza. As we see Bowtie taking the lead here. Oh, S-Chassis battle. Bowtie, where are you going, my boy? Those are a little bit too quick going into turn one. Making contact with that tire wall, just missing the initiation point. Very easy to carry too much speed. Luckily, he's going to be able to compete in his chase run. Not a situation you'd have in real life where you have to worry about damage and tires being off. The only damage I believe that we have for today is tires. So, if we end up getting a couple more times, we'll have to worry about stuff like tire wear. But we don't have to worry about driver safety or being able to get the car fixed or 5-minute timeouts. That's something that that we're lucky that within the virtual world we don't have to deal with.
Yeah, and we've seen this, that entry coming in way too hot, overcooking it, and just going to that tire wall. And that's why, I've had some conversations with both Chris Forsberg, Ryan Turk, and Dylan Hughes. We did a Blackout Garage episode, and we talked about, man, it's kind of bittersweet that, Long Beach didn't happen because a lot of these guys, like Turk announced that he's going to be in the Corolla hatchback, Forsberg working on his car, Dylan builds a new car. Those guys specifically, I asked them, it's bittersweet that we're not starting in Long Beach because your car might survive to see another day, and that might be Atlanta, that might be Orlando, who knows when we're going to start the actual FD season. But kind of save your car because Long Beach is not forgiving at all.
All right. Actually, thank you, Bowtie. Very cool. I can explain another little Forza little quirk that we have. Again, we try our best to replicate what we see in real life, whether that be Formula Drift or any sort of other sort of competitive drifting. But we do have to adjust and rework rules to be able to fit within Forza's limitations. So again, we do have that start car instead of a chicane and a light. Another thing we will do as well is if the follow car does not feel like they got a good start, they can stop by a certain time, which Bowtie did, and they will be restarting the run. Just because Bowtie, again, you could see he just didn't have the launch there. I don't know what happened. Either wasn't paying attention or just potentially let the foot slip off the clutch a little bit too early. But they're going to be restarting this run with Boy in the lead and Bowtie in chase. Bowtie with a ton to make up for here, but Long Beach is not a forgiving track. So again, a little bit fast into one corner, a little bit too far on the wall. We could see this go one more time, or even Bowtie being able to eke out the win. So still a lot to play for here for Bowtie. Boy definitely in the driver's seat, but it's a lot of times when you try to run safe, we've seen people, whether that be in gaming or in real life, all have to do is complete a run, and that's the time when you see the biggest mistakes. So Boy in the lead. Bowtie giving chase, getting a good start this time. Passing that respect zone going into turn one. Boy, big angle. Bowtie gonna be right there with him though, but as I said, Boy overcharging that corner a little bit, entering a little bit late. Bowtie gonna be on the chase here as Boy very smooth up in the lead. Not a lot Bowtie can do though. Really goes for the charge, gonna be going out wide in the hairpin. Kind of a mess of a run, mistakes from both these guys.
Yeah, overall, you saw Bowtie kind of mimic what he did on that first run, just comes in way too hot. Once again, in that chase position, in real life, you would have kind of bit off more than you could chew because you're going to have that lead driver be pissed off at you that they're at the door. But in this instance, obviously, you can kind of risk it for the biscuit, and you can see TDR putting the car in the right place. He even, challenges. He rockets out of that outside, that first touch and go under the bridge where he drew some blood, and then you see him coming in that. He has some mistakes, but overall, Bowtie had the biggest deficit to make up, and Boy puts it all the way through.
Yeah, I don't think that anything that Boy... And of course, we're getting the judge call now. Boy is going to get the win, going to be moving on into your top 16. Something we do a little bit different here as well in Forza is we're not going to be completing the 32 and then moving on to the 16. We'll be completing the 32 of what we have. It'll be our first little bracket, and then we'll do the top 8, and then the the Final Four to basically find out who our first finalist in the Final Four is, and then we'll move on to the second half and the third half. It's just a little bit easier logistically for us to be able to get people in and out of the lobby. It's, again, another little weird thing that's for people who are familiar with competitive Forza drifting is totally normal, but doesn't quite make sense to somebody who may be new or unfamiliar.
I do appreciate you guys' grace towards my education of the online drifting and everything, and I truly appreciate it because I know fans, you know, can't make it there or they need to reenact, and it's I love it. So thank you for having some grace as far as my knowledge of this goes.
I mean, we've been doing this for a long time, and we're lucky to have you here. Parker going to be in the lead in the BMW. Got Killy from Art of Motion in the Justin Pollock Mustang. Not a bad job from Parker right now. Looks like Killy's... Oh, as I say that, why do I speak? Parker in the wall. It looked like just Killy was just trying to feel him out there, kind of give him some room. Parker, again, like I said earlier in the broadcast, or like has been mentioned, Long Beach is not one of those tracks where you have the grace of, you know, you drop a tire into the dirt. It is a mistake, but you can recover. If you go a little bit too fast here or don't quite get that angle set, you're going in the wall.
Yeah, you can see Parker twitchy going in and just not confident with it in that outside zone. And yeah, I love the kind of amalgamation that is. It's like a old school Matt Field Honda meets JTP Mustang overall, but Parker right on that outside zone just comes in too hard. And Killy, he kind of led him into that, you know, excuse me, Parker led Killy into that wall, and you saw Parker overshoot that hairpin, and that's just going to kind of show your control and kind of getting a little too wild.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys, we've been off on our competitive scene. Again, Forza competitive drifting is alive and well, but a lot of the top-level competitive scenes have been on break, so a lot of these guys have not driven to a competitive level in a long time. Got to really knock the cobwebs off and get comfortable in these cars again. Because there's one thing to be out here drifting with your friends, but it's another thing when you've got 200-plus eyes on you and official, you know, judges who know what they're looking for. So it's a level of pressure a lot of these guys might not be used to. But as we get ready for the second half of this battle here, Killy going to be in the lead. Killy with all the cards right now. Really need Parker to get aggressive on the chase. Killy with a good entry there, not quite getting all that outer zone, but Parker not really have any answer with him in proximity. Killy, strange line there. He ended up getting out to the outer zone, but that's going to prevent Parker from being able to catch up as Parker gets into the back of Killy just a little bit, pushing him wide. Don't think that was enough to make up the deficit, but not a bad showing from Chase, but Killy just looked very smooth and very set there in the lead position.
I'm actually just right now doing a little Instagram story, just tagging Forza and everybody, letting everybody know what's going on out there right now. And yeah, so it's pretty comical to see, not comical, but just rad to see what's going on. And man, so here's that. I love the side by side because this really shows you who is dominant in both the chase, because the chase is really where people shine in the real life. In you know, Long Beach was going down, but the lead run is showing you your fluidity. But in chase, when it comes to the gaming, you can just see the control and kind of not the wavering, and that's similar to real life as well.
A lot of that wavering too, again, like I said, there's little quirks and foibles that come with Forza. A lot of those twitches aren't actually happening as we're spectating from outside of the lobby. The spectating mode in Forza adds in a little bit of choppiness. So a lot of really aggressive flicks back and forth and corrections back and forth aren't actually happening in the lobby. It takes a lot to get used to and get kind of a trained eye as to what is, you know, just twitching from, you know, all of us being all over the world. You know, some of us being based in the United States. I know some drivers are here from Norway. I myself am from Canada, so a lot of us are from all over the place. It's just like you would see lag in any online multiplayer game. But that is going to be Killy getting the win. Killy in the Mustang going to be moving on. Art of Motion really having a good start to their day. Of our second lobby here, TZ Renegade going against VPC Stance. VPC Stance running, I wonder who his freaking driver is, as a little bit too much angle in that initiation, going to be able to open the gap to Renegade. Renegade in that C7 Corvette, opening the gap right up. Stance just nowhere to be found. Entering the final corner here, the hairpin is Stance just not getting the run he was looking for there. And again, we talked about it before. Unfortunately, I think it just comes down to how you enter it. It just never really got his rhythm back from looked like he got a little bit too much on the car entering into that first corner.
Yeah, Stella got her groove back, but Stance never got his groove back using that Chelsea DeNova Ford Mustang. So the classic bow tie versus the pony, and Renegade really fluid. I liked how he drove. You see his transition under the bridge, really just barely transferring some teal paint on under the bridge, which is such an iconic backdrop. And Firestone's been on that for quite some time. But Stance having some issues in that chase position. But watch Renegade, man, just threw it in. I like the fluidity that he, or let's call it what it is, she. Renegade might be a she. I don't know. Are there any chicks out here drifting in the building?
Don't think today. I'm not. None of the names jump out at me. So if somebody is, if there is one, as a woman here, then I'll need to be corrected. But I'm not sure if anyone today, if they're being represented today. We do have female drifters within the community. Just I don't think any of them got the memo for today, unfortunately.
All right. So Stance now up front, Renegade in that chase position.
Right, Stance has basically everything to gain here, nothing to lose. But Renegade, you might see him play a little bit safer. We'll see what happens coming into turn 1. Stance getting the run there. Oh, Renegade really having to cut the corner to try to keep up with Stance. Stance putting his right foot down, big angle on that wall. Coming into the hairpin, Renegade not looking too set in the chase position, but Stance, like we said, having to do something in the lead position. Not quite sure if that's going to make up for the mistake, but we're going to have to process what happened to Renegade in that first corner in his follow position. Really getting a lot of that curve.
Yeah, I liked what Stance did, but like you said, it almost looked reminiscent of what Chelsea DeNova would do in real life. Throw too much angle at it, it would just let it hang out there too long. I mean, Chelsea always has good angle in real life, but in this lead position, he hung it out, like you said, massive angle, but it seemed that Renegade had to kind of check up, accommodating that hang up there. So you see it go shallow and then go in that second outside zone, kind of almost stalls it out while Renegade keeps composure and brings around that hairpin. So tight, loose, tight for Stance and Renegade. Like I said, that lead run of Renegades seemed a little more just overpowering than what Stance had to offer.
And the judges are going to agree with Renegade getting the win. Renegade's going to be moving on in the top 16. And within Forza's rule set, not an easy car to drive is that C7 Corvette. Actually, it's funny because it reminds me of the C7 we've seen in real life with Jean Barillon. Really having to work really hard to make that car work. As we see another Mustang versus Bowtie. Oh, he's going to take this Shorty. VPC Shorty going to be in the Mustang. AOM Rampage really quick into the first battle here. Rampage in the lead. Shorty giving chase. Rampage good initiation. Shorty kind of giving him a little bit of space. We're going to see him attack in the second half of the course. Getting into the wall. No harm, no foul though. A little bit of a checkup, but not much. As really charges Rampage. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe just didn't quite get the angle he was looking for, but front end just didn't go. Charged in. Good job of preventing contact. But it was great up until that point. And then up in the lead position, Rampage just really looking set. A lot of these AOM guys came to play today.
Yeah, I liked what Rampage did. On initiation, looks really clean right out of the gate. You see Shorty coming up short, literally, and then kind of living up to Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s Mr. Plow nickname around that peninsula, just going to the side of Rampage. So Shorty just says, you know what, all right, I'm just going to take you out. Unfortunately, no damage, no damage seen here in the digital format. But I liked what Rampage did. But now he needs to chase down Shorty, which you wonder, did he make those mistakes because he was chasing him down and had those mistakes? Or does he have what it takes? Because remember, we're on the other side of the top 32 bracket. We haven't entered into the top 16. Some of these guys are newcomers. As you said, you got 200, 300 people watching you. Some nerves. This is like the real life. You come to play and hang out, and this is kind of a cool format. So we'll see how what looks like Vaughn Gittin Jr. vehicle, Shorty will lead Rampage to chase.
All right, Shorty in the lead. Got some ground to make up here in terms of for the judges. Very good start, very fluid, but Rampage right there with him. Going to look to see if he closes the gap here a little bit. Doesn't quite look like it's still very close. Oh, again, same exact thing. Car just didn't quite get the flick he was looking for. Understeer from the front end. Contact being made. Rampage has actually played that very smart, and it looked like it played into his hand.
Yeah, Shorty, you see him, like you said, so in the chase, that's why I said, in the chase, did he make that mistake, or was it just kind of the situation of the vehicle? with that wide swing off of that second outer zone and then coming into that peninsula. That happens in real life too. Remember the transition there on the pavement, which I don't think that comes into play in the gaming situation or scenario, but it happened to Shorty here.
You'd be surprised actually how the transitions between the concrete and the pavement make a difference. What I think may have been the issue there is, as we talked about a little bit earlier, is your car choice and the choice of vehicle that you're taking. We saw him drive one of those one of the FD Mustangs, and I mean, just like real life, what that car comes with and the setup that it has, not a lot you can do to it in Forza to tune out or to adjust for things like understeer. It doesn't quite have the three wheel actually like we're used to seeing in real life, but that car's still having its own set of issues to come with it. Speaking of a car with some issues, we got Wagon Force himself, KNC Giraffe, one of our ESDA pros in the field. Again, ESDA being our top level Forza competitive series, if anyone's ever heard of us. Going to be going up against AOMD Legend. D-Legend has been around the Forza community for a long time. Again, on that Art of Motion team, and they've been doing very well throughout the course of the day. Legend going to be in the lead. Giraffe and the Wagon giving chase. Giraffe very close to proximity as Legend straight leg, just a little hair. Cause a contact. Both cars not quite straight. I'm not sure if Legend will be able to keep the drift through there, but that's going to stop Giraffe from getting right on the door of D-Legend. Trying to attack in the second half of the run here, but I think he plays it safe, kind of backs off and gives D-Legend some room to maneuver there. Really going to come down to that contact coming into turn 2 and who the judges deem for that to be at fault for that contact. But I don't think there's a lot of Legend can do, but you know, when the car starts to understeer, you're kind of in a panic mode at that point.
Yeah, I liked what Giraffe did here on initiation. You see Legend throw it in. Giraffe says, all right, I'm going to stick my neck out there, and it's a long neck at that. But it looks like Legend pushes out. You see him tap the wall. Giraffe gets right back to the side. Legend did have a shallower line coming in that second outer zone. That was due to a little bit of contact. But then as they come around the peninsula, looks like they finally regain their bearings and get set. So I liked, like you say, you know, the ESDA driver. Love the Audi wagon. I would love to see one of those in Formula Drift. I'm a big wagon fan. So, you know, getting that pressure amongst the side of your vehicle. But Giraffe, you could see him getting right back there. Liked what both of them did. Obviously, talented drivers, and talk about their history and their equity coming into the online drifting.
And Giraffe going to be in the lead here. D-Legend giving chase. D-Legend offered to play for it, giving him a little bump coming out of the 50 roll. Going to turn one big angle from Giraffe up in the lead position. Not quite getting all that outer zone. Going to be able to have a gap opened. D-Legend really going to need to close in here if he wants to keep within a shot of taking the win here. Giraffe getting a little bit of the wall, but doesn't look like it affected him too much. A tad wide. D-Legend going to come off the clutch there. We heard his revs, the revs on the engine of the Camaro rev up there. Just got a little bit too much. I don't know if he's running too much. He is running the NASCAR engine in that car, so I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. But that's going to be it for that run.
Yeah, Giraffe looked really strong, and that just shows you kind of, you know, the track time and the experience with that vehicle, how it reacts. You know, it looked like a solo qualifying run as opposed to a battle run. Just KNC kind of just ran away with it. The Giraffe just seemed, you know, just very fluid. So we take, you know, looking at the replay, you see him tight, doesn't get all the way out there in the touch and go, like his fluidity, but this is where it comes down to kind of, you know, accommodating your lead car and mimicking that line. And Giraffe, you see, has a really good line. Yes, he did go shallow, but overall pretty fluid, and there was some opportunities where Legend could have stricken and really kind of showed that, all right, I'm going to catch up. Like you said, you talked about the NASCAR engine and his setup. He should have some horsepower on deck compared to Giraffe.
All right, just waiting for, I think we just got our judging call of a one more time.
Oh, I could agree with that. I could definitely agree with that. I mean, both of them have had some mistakes, and like we said, just that exposure, that door being open, there could have been an opportunity. Again, Giraffe taking that shallower line, more fluid. It looked like Legend was taking more risk. He was kind of just going for it. Bigger angle, more exciting. Giraffe was playing it safe with a fluid line, but not as close and tight to those required elements that the judge is looking for, that outside zone, that initiation, going out to that touch and go out of the gate into the chute, you know. So the judges are, you know, they're riding shotgun with him, and you could see all these different mistakes, but I appreciate the one more time. I think that makes sense.
I'm gonna have, you know, and not to take anything away from Legend, but being able to take an ESDA Pro, the guys that have you know, that probably have hundreds, if not thousands of hours of this track practicing for our competitive events. Being able to take Giraffe one more time is no small feat, but Giraffe, I think, has a little bit more left in the tank here compared to what I've seen him be able to do. But Legend has an opportunity to kind of smooth out his lead run, and we're going to see that here as we're going. And we have our van out of the way, getting up to that 400 board. Legend in the lead, Giraffe giving chase. Legend not quite getting the angles looking for, but ends up getting into the second half of the first corner. Good job through the two touch and goes as we go into this big, long corner. Legend getting a little bit of the wall. Giraffe, big angle in that Audi wagon. Being a little bit of contact, just hey, how you doing here, coming out of the hairpin. Legend looked a lot better in the lead position, but Giraffe was, with that experience of that one more time, being able to take that knowledge of what Legend did in his lead and capitalize on it.
Oh, yeah. These guys are both really talented. You can see that this looks like a grade 8, maybe even a Final Four battle right out of the gate. And you saw that Legend throw it in. Doesn't get all the way out to that touch and go, but still shows you, keeping it controlled. You're not seeing the tapping in the brakes. Gets all the way to outside zone. And like you said, you can utilize the tools. They talk about this in driver's meetings. Utilize all the tools you have. And it looked like Legend gets out to that wall, and you can bounce off of that second outer zone with no consequences. So Legend's saying, all right, he uses his tool, just like a potential break. The damage to the taillights, it's still there. So they continue on through the course. With Giraffe knowing that, he needs to know that he can get to the side of Legend as well. But now they're going to alternate resistance. Giraffe will be out front and Legend will be in the chase position.
I think Giraffe might have a little bit of the speed advantage, but Legend, no slouch in that Camaro. He's got all the horsepower in the world. Just have to see if he can make use of it. Giraffe leading, big angle from that. Oh, that Audi flirting with the wall. I thought he was going in the wall there for sure. Coming up to the big sweeper. Giraffe, big angle, definitely trying to flex his muscles there in the lead position, but D-Legend was right there with him the entire time. That was one of the best. D-Legend needed to bring it in the follow position. He absolutely did. But unfortunately for him, I think Giraffe put down his best run of the day up in that lead position. Big angle, very fluid, and had that car everywhere it needed to be.
Yeah, Giraffe was confident. You saw him throw it in there, and just right out of the gate, like you said, when you get that pucker effect, you know it's going to be a good run, right? Your butthole starts eating your underwear. So that's what happened here specifically. So you see, I can say those things, right? We're not doing FD. Like,
yeah, you're good.
Okay, I'm not going to cuss, but I will just maybe push that PG-13 a little bit.
We need FD Montreal. That's the beer we're looking for.
Oh, you want the trippy organic Oreos? So yeah, the Giraffe, just the beauty of all-wheel drive. But I have to assume that car is not all-wheel drive, right?
Yeah, that's part of the rule. Everything here is rear-wheel drive.
Okay, cool. So he, switched out that front differential, but you see him going in, and that's exactly what he needed to do. And as you say, you talk about his caliber, you talk about his prowess, and that's what he needs to do. But Legend, it's unfortunate that he's going out early in 32 because he looks like he has what could take him a little further, but unfortunately he got paired up against a driver that knows what to do when the time counts.
Yeah, Giraffe, I was going to say, I think the difference there was not necessarily in terms of scale. It was just in terms of experience and seat time. Legend, not a rookie at all. But against someone like Giraffe, who's really used to high-pressure situations competing in ESTA in the 2019 season, is no slouch. He ended up getting his license through the driver search as well, so that's extra pressure, because if you don't perform in that event, you don't get your license for the year. You don't get to compete. So Giraffe is used to pressure. Usually, with him, it's either it brings out the best in him or the worst. So we were talking about this last night and who we were going to see, who we were afraid or who was going to be a weapon throughout the day. Giraffe, I think, has put on his try-hard boots today and really trying to go out there and impress and show off what some of our pro drivers for ESDA can do. Not to take away from, again, Legend. Legend did an excellent job, but I think just cool, calm, collected under pressure was Giraffe, and that's got him the win. As we see another pairing, Vixen, going to be in the lead here in that Alec Honadel S14. In an SL65, we got Toyo Armani, not a car you see very often. Vixen in the lead, getting a lot of that inner curve, but would like to see them get a little bit more out to the walls, but it's going to leave the door wide open for Armani. Contact with the wall is Vixen. Are we going to see an overtake here on the outside? Armani taking Vixen. Not quite sure what the judges are going to think. That last corner looks like he shut the door on Vixen, but Armani saw the door, went for it, just like in real life. If you can manage an overtake and make it clean, well, that's all going to come down to the judges and what their opinion of that on it. I can't talk today. What their opinion of that overtake was, but it looks like the door was open. He just went for it.
I don't know, man. I beg to differ. You saw Vixen go in for it, right? Okay, Armani keeps his composure. First of all, active arrow, his wing is popping up. Vixen did have a mistake, but he could have just kept some composure there, Armani, and kind of pedaled back, and that would have showed more car control and kind of stomped on the brakes a little bit. All joking aside, I don't know if you do notice, but it does have active arrow. The wing goes up down the straightaway when it hits a certain miles per hour. But so if we're going off of kind of Formula Drift rules and standards, I would say don't go for the pass because he's way shallow. He's a car ahead of the lead car that is Vixen, and but again, I'm just the announcer, bro. Don't kill me. I'm just cranking some beers and have a good time.
It's nice to have another perspective, especially with somebody, because that's not something that I thought of at all. But Armani, here we go. Armani going to be in the lead position. Vixen not quite get the line they were looking for. Big gap open now. Armani just looks hard. Oh yeah, Vixen over rotating. They're going to be getting into the wall. That is going to be an incomplete from Vixen in the chase position, which is unfortunate because again, it's nice to have another perspective because I didn't think of that. But as you were saying that, Jarod, I was like, yeah, he could have just backed off and let that run happen.
And what's also interesting is with Vixen with that mistake, you wonder maybe in that lead position he was having issues or just not having that confidence going into that second outer zone, and Armani could have potentially rightfully taken that pass, but with him being so shallow that it was unnecessary pass. Vixen didn't mess up that much. If he would have straightened up more, I could see Armani going for the pass, but that seemed like a scenario of like, yo, pump the brakes, take a little chill pill, relax, you got a Mercedes-Benz, don't, no sponsors. I get it. Weird flex, but okay. But Vixen, it seemed like he made a mistake, but Armani didn't need the pass. But unfortunately for Vixen, he made a mistake independently, and looks like he's done.
Yeah, that will be a Toyo or Armani win. Armani going to be moving on. They have gotten the call, and there they go. Getting that gate car out of the way. Carter going to be leading in the GTR. Alex the Great in chase in the Camaro. Using the power to get that car initiated, but getting all of the curve, throttling up into the wall is Alex. Carter getting a little bit of that wall himself before the Camaro even got there. We have to look back at that again just to be sure, but Carter not doing the worst job of correcting and cleaning himself up, but definitely could be improving for both these guys here in the next run.
Oh man, that was just a food fight. There was cake, there was ice cream, there was banana splits, because that was bananas. Carter, you saw him initiate, but Alex the Great looked like, man, he's been hanging out at the Pike Bar before this competition. He is just all over the place. And, again, no sponsors. Looks like, I don't know, he might have found a way into this competition through the exit door, like it was cracked open and just threw it in there. All joking aside, Alex unfortunately had just, at no point was he kind of holding a drift. I mean, I love the car, I love the setup, but look at even off the start, you see it just wavering side to side, and you think this thing might have too much horsepower to handle.
Yeah, maybe too much horsepower. A lot of guys too like to put again. That's kind of one of the beautiful things about Forza's drifting scene is that you could have cars that are completely set up, completely different. Everyone kind of does their own thing, much to the replication of real life. Looking like maybe he's just got too much power in that car, maybe not enough grip set up in the rear of the car. Again, I'd like to see Carter clean it up a little bit too, even though there was that contact. Could have had a better second half of the run. Going to give Alex a lot of room here as he goes wide into the tires. Carter grabs a little bit of the curb. Early transition from him.
Now that is a clean pass. That is justifiable pass. Alex goes for a pit stop, but not one you ideally want to see. He's not changing tires, he's getting all of the tires. So he goes into that tire wall, allowing Carter for what you'd call a justifiable pass in this instance. Unfortunately, Alex the Great, not so great this run, but it allows Carter the easy win here.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine that's, again, big nerves. Somebody that maybe, and I haven't seen personally Alex drive before, so maybe finding his way into this competition, big shoes to fill. And unfortunately for him, I think just set way too much power in that car. Whenever he got on the throttle, he just took off in whatever direction the car was pointing. But it is going to be Carter getting the win. Carter kind of getting a gift there. We're going to have to see what he can do in the top 16. But we should be already have our second pair ready.
Yeah, and also seeing Carter's replay, you see him, even though, you know, Alex the Great made that mistake out front, you see him keep it just consistent all the way through. He didn't need to do that. If this was FD rules, you kind of park it, Carter could chill, but this is an opportunity for him to kind of have his way through this.
Yeah, and I mean, and even one lap where you don't quite get the best initiation on turn one, you know, maybe you take that extra experience, that extra lap, get a little bit warmed up in the lobby with all the rest of the drivers as we're waiting on NR Dreamzy to decide that he wants to play a video game today. Anytime he's ready.
I see Too Wet for You running into Toyo Gambit saying like, all right, wake him up. I feel like this is...
There, well, Gambit's ready. There they go. I'm just going to quickly get these tires warmed here. Both these guys I was driving with in the practice sessions. Gambit's a guy who really impressed me. He's really confident in that Shelby Mustang. And we normally see the, in competitive, we normally see the S5, the RTR Mustang, and the newer models. This car used to be so dominant in Forza games of past, so it's not like it's a completely unproven chassis. Excited to see Gambit out here trying to do what he can do in that Mustang, but Dreamzy in the Ferrari, again, sounds really weird and foreign to maybe more traditional drifting fans, but with Forza having... you don't have to worry about getting the car fixed or developing the car. You see a lot of people get really experimental, and the 599 is a very strong car.
Gotta say, these guys line up right next to each other. Like you said, the damage not a consideration for these guys. But off the gate, if I was driving in real life, I'd be like, yep, back off.
So Gambit in the lead, Dreamzy giving chase. Dreamzy right there on Gambit's door. Gambit very smooth up in that lead position, going through the power alley here. Going to be a little bit shallow is Dreamzy, but right on the door is he of Gambit. Gambit slowly transitioning there into the hairpin, but Dreamzy is not letting him go. One of the most aggressive follow-ons we've seen all day. A lot of door taps there, but not to take away from Gambit. Very smooth up in that lead position.
Yeah, Gambit I really liked. I mean, the car from a livery standpoint, it reminds me of like Ken Gucci when he first won an event. Ken Gucci used to pilot a Ford Mustang. This might, again, be before a lot of you guys were born. And then Dreamzy, it seems like he has a drift button, man. Look, he hits it, and then it just gains angle super quick. And you saw that, watching the peninsula, just bam, he just slides right into the side of Gambit, that Ford Mustang. It looks like he just hits a button, that back end just swings right around. So it shows you, it's almost like reminiscent of Daigo Saito, where you saw him kind of nose in, but then would just turn on that angle really quick. That's more with the SC430 kind of chassis, you know, that the convertible that he was running for, that took him to the championship when he came here, the Ninja car. And then, but overall, you know, that was a really good run from both the drivers. I think, you know, this is a window of opportunity for both of them, saying like, all right, you saw Dreamzy what he can do in the chase, now what he can do up front.
All right, Dreamzy in the lead, big angle going in there into turn one, not quite getting all of that first touch and go, but he will be there for the second one. Gambit right there on the door, not letting him go, giving him a bit of room to maneuver here up in the lead in that Ferrari. A little bit of a slow transition into the hairpin, but Gambit did not let him go. Maybe not as exciting and as jaw-dropping as Dreamzy's follow, but I think was a little bit more consistent. So it's going to be up to the judges here to determine what they prefer to see.
Yeah, he saw Dreamzy out front. Looked like I don't think there was any technical issue at all, but he looked twitchy from a glitch standpoint, just the way he was driving. It was like, just need a little bit more oil to kind of loosen up, make it a little more smoother out front. But Gambit, he did, like you said, what Dreamzy did in the chase position. So I would not be surprised, you know, given the time and the weather, and it's great outside and just, you know, it's great inside, but I would say the judges probably call this one more time, just because there's no definitive winner in my mind. And this is on the other side of the bracket, so this is 32, so you could really, like you say, the nerves and all of that kind of coming together.
Yeah, I mean, one more time is immediately where my mind went, and the judges really needing the replays to kind of go over this one. Great job from Dreamzy. I'm gonna look at it again.
What do you say, Edgar, Hateley, Westies? Come on, buddy. What do you got?
The little bit of wiggling before the white stripes on the That big sweeper with that wall section, I think probably was just a little bit of spectator lag, but he was lacking.
Wait, did you say the white stripes are performing here? That's amazing. Your budget just went up tremendous. Wait, you guys aren't even paying me anything to do this, and the white stripes are here? I'm joking.
I'm getting bullied. I'm getting bullied.
That's a Hateley problem, not an us problem.
No,
that is true, actually.
I'm joking. Look, I'm completely content. I'm loving this, so it's cool.
I can give you 100 maple bucks, but I don't think that's going to be worth much in freedom dollars.
Yeah, we don't have Tim Hortons here, so we're good.
That's you know what, Jared? I think you called it, because they're going to go one more time.
Yeah, like I've seen drifting before.
Yeah,
both digital and in person. And I've hung out with Eggert plenty enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's still cool to be able to have you guys here again. You, Andy Hateley, who was kind of the mastermind of the brain. This is kind of his brainchild, and then Westies. I mean, a long time. Anybody who's been in the Forza community long enough already knows who I'm talking about by that name. Being here and being able to have probably the best judging trio we've ever had in Forza Motorsport. Gambit in the lead. Dreamsy giving chase. Dreamsy right there with him. Big angle from Gambit, but Dreamsy not afraid to get on the door of that Mustang. Gonna have to shallow up and get that proximity back again. Not quite the line, but definitely right back on him. Good job from Dreamsy to maintain that proximity for the second half of the run. Did he just get over aggressive in turn one, or did Gambit kind of throw a little bit too much angle?
Yeah, I think Gambit threw it in there and he shallowed up, but then Gambit went deep under the bridge. Dreamsy went shallow, but you have to place blame kind of on that lead car, because wherever the lead car goes, chase car needs to follow. So on initiation, you see Gambit go for it, holds on to it, goes shallow, but Dreamsy keeps his composure. Well, he slams inside him, let's be honest. So he has to compensate for that. He straightens out a bit, which allows Gambit to gain some traction under the bridge. He gets a second outside zone. Gambit's kind of at fault in this scenario. Dreamsy, he held it together given the circumstance. So now I think with Dreamsy out front, Gambit needs to apply the pressure like we know he can, because we just saw it, but now it's like it just needs to be cleaner, like tightened up. This is where you really kind of stitch it up and lock it in.
All right, Dreamsy in the lead. Gambit giving chase. Gambit really needs a strong finish to his battle here. Dreamsy not quite being able to get on the power transition, or going a little bit wide there, transitioning. Gambit gonna catch up to him right on the door again. Going into the hairpin. Dreamsy nice and smooth up in the lead position, doing a great job in the second half of his run. Gambit right there. And Dreamsy just looked like he was pushing it a little bit wide, tried to keep the car from getting on the wall, which left the door wide open for Gambit to be able to come in and attack him on the door there.
Yeah, I think unfortunately Dreamsy had too many mistakes. I think he had too many mistakes out front. Watch this again. So you see him initiate. He's way shallow. He's on that gator strip, that rumble strip. He hits the wall. He bounces off that. He gains traction, straightens up. Under the bridge, he shoots out. He's shallow off the second outer zone. Where is Gambit supposed to go when that happens out front? And then he overshoots kind of the peninsula. So unfortunately, it seems that Frenzy needed to put it together, but he just, Dreamsy. Sorry, I'm getting my Z's mixed up here on my leads or whatever. And
messed up today. You're fine.
The Z's are all over the place. So Dreamsy, he had too many mistakes out front, and neither of them really put it together. But I'd say lead versus lead, chase versus chase. Gambit seemed like the more dominant driver, but I've been wrong before.
You are not wrong this time. Judges are going to agree, giving Gambit the win. Just want to touch on something really quick. We talked about it earlier with the difference between controller and the wheel. In that battle, Gambit was on the wheel and Dreamsy was on the controller. So for Dreamsy to even to keep up with Gambit, and in the community, that's not to be known a slow car, and he's not a slow driver. So even keeping up with Gambit is a huge plus, but a lot of that twitchiness, that unsettlingness may have come down from his pad of choice. Force Wangles here in the lead in the Fortune Auto. Okay. In the Fortune Auto Mercedes 190E, Toyo J going to be giving chase. Not the best start for either of them there. Again, Wangle's getting into the wall there a little bit. Jay's going to be giving him some breathing room. Going to attack there on the hairpin. One of the best opportunities of this track to get real close in proximity. What was the start of that battle? What was going on there in turn one?
Yeah, I think overall that was just wash, rinse, repeat that one. Control, Alt, Delete that scenario right there. I do love the classic DTM bends, but taking a look at Wangle's run here, you saw him throw it in, bites up, way too much angle. Toyo J, he doesn't know how to handle that. He just got handed a really bad appetizer of calamari, and it just was stinky. So when he comes out of that second outside zone in the peninsula, looks like they kind of get going at the same time, but both of them seem to be on different kind of atmospheres. Wangles, yeah, just threw too much. I mean, his name is Forrest Wangles. I have to assume he emulates, Forrest Wang, which has big angle, and we've seen him just, gain more speed over the years. It had big angle, but didn't have that fluidity. It kind of came to a halt right there.
I think that all comes down to just the way this track works and how it's so momentum based. You messed up your first corner, you get a mistake on that turn one. It's very hard to mentally reset. Jay going to be in the lead. Wangles giving chase. Jay, big cut on that turn one. Going to get all of that first touch and go, though. Wangles really needs to close this gap if he has any hope of taking the fight to Toyo Jay. Jay transitioning into the hairpin. Very, very good job from him. Wangles really cutting the corner there, trying to gain some ground. Looked like that was the tale of, oh, God, he's running away from me. Oh, God, just trying to throw the fishing line out, but not quite getting it.
Yeah, unfortunately for Wangles, looks like it was over before it even began, and Toyo Jay just ran away with it. He wasn't even part of the scenario. 1 + 1 = 2, but this was just a one-on-one situation for Toyo Jay. He just ran away with it in that Ford Mustang, and Wangles loved the car, but no matter how good you look, it always looks better out front with big angle and especially atop the podium. So I think that's going to be all she wrote for Wangles.
It is with Jay getting the win, but the only thing that I was curious to see there, whether that was one tire or two tires off in turn one. Seeing the replay, there was one tire on the rumble strip, which is allowed. There was one tire off the rumble strip into that inner part where those sausage curbs are, which luckily, again, we're not in real life because that would do some damage. But that is completely okay. That is a deduction, but judges viewing that to be in Jay's favor as we move on to our next battle of 8-Bit Brian.
Oh, big balls.
Going up against
Brian. What up, Brian? Super psyched. I was
talking to Brian a little earlier. He's doing really well considering he's on a wheel again, which is not the wheel is a little bit harder.
He's not only on a wheel, he's on like a simulator of a whole vehicle. He has like practically half a vehicle in his house.
Yeah, he's got a hell of a setup, and the way he's driving too. I think he's on sim steering as well, which on the wheel is, you can take advantage of that, but it's very, very hard to learn. And from what I saw in practice, he was doing a hell of a job. Elite Ace, representing Team Drift Royals, a very strong team here in the Forza Motorsports scene. Very strong car in that Forza Edition Camaro. Brian going to be leading though in that BMW. See what he can do in the lead. So Ace can do in the chase. A little bit shallow there. We're going to get to that first. Okay, that's excellent. Let's see if that happened on. Oh, it did not happen. Oh, it did happen on stream side. So, fun thing that happens here in Forza Motorsport, if somebody leaves the lobby while there is a battle in place, while there's cars on track, the spectators will get a black screen. So, I'm going to assume that's what happened there. I'm going to see what the judges say, but normally that's a rerun. Again, there's little quirks to the game here that
and now we've entered the Long Beach Grand Prix, right? We're going full course now. We're going past into turn one. Right? This is the long straightaway. This is the Long Beach Grand Prix track. Past Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. We're going to go past. There's a bar here on the left-hand side. I can't remember the damn name of it, but right there's the old Hooters. Right there on the left is the Irish, the bar where we can get some good libations.
Long Beach, not a round that I've personally made it out to. It's a little bit of an expensive flight.
Yeah, Long Beach Grand Prix was to be next weekend, which would be doing the Motegi Racing Super Drift Challenge next weekend, but fortunately not happening. So maybe we should do it next week.
I mean, that's not out of the cards. I don't think any of us are busy. I don't think that's going on. But
can we set it at night and do lights?
Some tracks have nights, some don't. I'd have to check, but I don't see why we couldn't do that. Yeah. If it's possible. Yeah. But this is indeed a rerun. Again, just making sure, new judges that I've never worked with before, but that's kind of normally, if we have some sort of technical issue on the game side, that's nobody's fault. It's like a tree falling on the track, basically. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen, rerun it. Both these
by the way, the bar on the left-hand side is the Dubliner. The Dubliner. Thank you to Brian Eggers.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw Drew post that in fact too. I wasn't sure. Okay, Ace into the wall. Brian being able to open up a little bit of gap here. You're seeing some wavering from him, but that is just spectator lag. Ace trying to get back into the chase, but Brian not really giving him anywhere to go there. Almost sending him into the wall. Not a bad run from Brian, but Ace wasn't really there until the end. I'm not going to fault that ending on him too much, but he just wasn't active until the end of the run.
What does OFC mean, by the way? OFC. Of course. Okay, got it. Well, yeah, of course I know what bar is. But Brian here, 8-Bit Brian, aka Big Balls Brian of Maximum Drift Cats fame, he threw up the defensive block, man. That was I don't think he checked up, but the big 5 series, you can't move that thing, man. That is a big car, and the way it moves and the way it transitions is a little bit slower. So it's a run what you brung type environment. You need to adapt. If you're elite ace, in that Camaro, you got the big wang, so you got to slow down that thing. And Brian seemed to know where to put the car. He did have a mistake under the bridge. Did have some wavering in that second outer zone. Elite does keep his composure. Looking at it again, actually, Brian did have some mistakes, but it's going to come down to the second run, as I've been known to say, and of course it does come down to the second run. People coming and going right now. Looks like everybody's heading over to the Dubliner here. We go black screen. You going full blackout?
All right. Ace in the lead. We're going to have to see what Ace can do in this lead position. Brian going to be in the chase. Not a bad job from Brian having that proximity right there with him. Definitely in the picture. Not quite getting all that outer zone as Ace gets out there. Not a lot of speed in that Camaro right now, though, which is letting Brian really stay in the picture. And I don't know if you saw that either, Jerry, but on the outer wall, he had the angle, but just looked like he didn't have any forward motion.
Yeah, Brian had a lot of mistakes there, and he had a lot of asphalt between him and Ace. And I don't know why he didn't jump forward or just hold that angle. Maybe he thought he was going to lose some ground, but it seemed that he had to keep correcting, and when you look at it again in the replay, it seemed like, especially in that second outer zone, that's a time to kind of hold on to it, yank the awesome handle, and get that car back closer to the wall. So taking a look at it again, watching the chase position, you see Brian under the bridge, correct. I mean, yeah, you're seeing all 4 lock up from Ace, but as you said, that's kind of something to be noted in Forza, that it's not necessarily just locking up and pulling all the brakes. Nothing stupendous on either side. Again, I don't think Ace had the best chase run. I think Brian could definitely clean it up, and I don't know. What do you say?
I mean, I just watched the first run back, and again, Brian did have his own issues, but that Camaro was darn near straight.
Around that last one. Yeah, around that last hairpin.
And then I don't think we would be having this delay in a judging call if Ace did a little bit more to convince me with his lead. He didn't.
He hit the wall. Let's go back to that first run. Ace hit that wall, hit the tire wall, and then around the hairpin, he completely straightened down, parallel parked that thing like he was going to get Hooters right on that last peninsula. Talk about Hooters wings, okay? You kids.
Listen, in my defense, we don't have that many Hooters here, so I forget that it's a restaurant sometimes.
All right, yeah. Hooters is a restaurant, not that he's going to any sort of, weird Canadian where you throw loonies at girls. I
mean, I usually bring my own when I go down there, just in case.
Exactly. Sure all right. Some people are saying one more time here, but
it is going one more time. I forgot. I was too busy listening to the
Hooters dialogue.
Yeah. Oh my God, Brian, what was that? That was amazing. That flick entry was something. I haven't seen anybody do that in a long time. Brian really taking this one more time and taking the opportunity to be able to show us what he can do behind the wheel of that BMW. Ace right there with him. They're going to have to go shallow to keep up with him. That flick entry is not something that you can do in Forza. That is very difficult to do. So the fact that he did that, he could lose now, and I'm cool with it. Like, that's whatever you do now. Come on, that was sick.
Yeah, that was pretty monumental right there. Attaboy Brian. Looks like, why not go for it in that big 5 series? Like I said, that Manji entry, boom, whack-a-mole. Look at that, just right into that first touch and go under the bridge. Transition really clean. It looked like maybe he sandbagged. I don't know. He like threw sand. He was like a pixie dust throwing all over around the track on that first battle. Because right now he just absolutely delivered. Really well executed by Brian. Like you said, I mean, I heard your voice go up another octave. Dogs started howling here in my neighborhood because of your voice. And Ace, I think he was a little phased as well.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's advantages and disadvantages from sim steering, especially on the wheel. We just saw the advantage. That was one of the best.
That was the whack, right? Going lock to lock. The lock to lock. You can't do that with a controller.
In that speed, especially in the time frame that he did it. So we have Ace in the lead here. Brian gonna have to give chase. A little bit of a wavering from that chase position. Ace looking like he cleaned up a little bit in the lead, but definitely still lacking speed. Was going to let Brian get right on the door of a little bit of contact to the rear bumper. Ace completely straightening out. I'm not sure if that was due to contact or just the Camaro gripping up. That is...
He definitely pushed him on that back left corner. Brian pushed Ace on that back left corner from that transition, so not allowing him the distance to transition in. That could be, you know, frowned upon. Take a look at it again. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Like you said, there were some corrections from Brian. He looked better out front, but when it comes to that peninsula, there was contact made.
I think Brian definitely was making the best of his chase run. Yeah, he hit him going into the corner, and then after he transitioned across the bumper, he hit him again. So, if this does go to Ace, I think Brian just maybe handed it to him. I think that could have maybe went one more time if we saw a cleaner transition and cleaner hairpin, because that chase, he did sacrifice some angle and some line to get there, but I think he was a lot more aggressive on his chase than Ace was. Ace would maybe the more consistent lead run, but I mean, you're comparing the wow factor versus consistency. Judges going to side with the consistency of Elite Ace, though. Ace going to be getting the win, snatching the win away from Brian. Brian, though, that's a tough loss.
That is, but you know, that's just one of those runs where you have to adhere to the rules. You have to adhere to, you know, cool backward. You know, I've been notoriously said not the prettiest, you know, and that might not be the cleanest. You know, with Mad Mike in Atlanta many years ago, might have been a backwards entry, but if you come to a halt or you do something sensational independently, has to be, you know, kind of in line with the spirit of the rules. Or, you know, if you're doing something stylish, there's a platform for that. It's not here in Formula Drift.
40 in the S15, and then Looney in the Honda. Looney is one of our ESDA pro drivers as well. Looney has been getting better and better on Forza 7, long-time Forza vet. All right, 240 just banging the limiter of that S15. Not going to pay off for him in turn one, grabbing a lot of that inside of the corner. Looney kind of just giving him some room to maneuver right now. 240 going to have to put the pedal to the metal here and see if he can open up a bit of a gap. A lot of wavering in the lead position. Great job from Looney. Heads up follow driving right now. Getting pretty close actually as well. That's the difference between a good driver and a great driver, ladies and gentlemen. When you have a nice smooth, not to take away from 240, when you have a nice smooth lead, it is very easy to get aggressive on chase. Looney gave him a lot of room, let him make his mistakes independently. Not a bad run from 240, but an excellent chase from Looney.
Yeah, I liked 240 came out with a lot of tenacity, looked electric, but you know, like you said, Looney keeping his composure in the back, and you know, 8-bit Brian just shining his lights on it. I think it's a little disruptive, but I'm just gonna call it out. The broken 240 brings it around. AOM Looney around that final. Yeah, I mean, do you think anybody stands out in your mind? Like you said, the fluidity, or what do you think?
I mean, like, as somebody who also, like, competes and drives in this game, I have to respect Looney being able to follow what Broken 240 was doing, and he's not necessarily he put down a bad run, but there's a lot of opportunities where Looney could have backed off and gave a ton of space, and he didn't. He stayed close, he stayed consistent, and as a driver, I have to respect that, as Looney gets a hell of a jump moving into our second round here. Again, 240 grabbing a ton of that the inner zone, almost losing drift there. I have to check back to see if he did straighten up or not. Looney checking out in that lead position, showing why he is one of your ESDA pro drivers. And 240 just trying to hang on right now and across the line.
Yeah, that was a major mistake there by Broken 240. Like you said, looking at it again and just being kind of a couple steps behind you, as you called it out, looked like when he went past that inner kind of rumble strip, he would have, I mean, that car would have straightened out, that he might have broken suspension arm or something. I mean, he was just that tight. I can hear it in my mind, and then potentially just straightening out even more disruptive than we saw here in this run. But Looney, you could see him very fluid, consistent, nice, just, I mean, looking very calm and collect. This is a really good run there from Looney out front.
Yeah, and then Looney getting the win there. Again, this battle, if we have time, we'll go over who's going to be in. All right, wet for you. All right, have a good one, buddy. If we can go over this bracket, not to take anything away from the drivers we currently have, this bracket is stacked. You have at least two ESTA Pro drivers in this field, with XE Jimothy actually opting out to judge ESTA last year. And then Looney being another one of those drivers. Koenig Ace, who is on the line right now against Rico Zhang. One of our judges, Westies, Michael Lindsay. As again, most people in the Forza community have been around for a little while, know who Westies is. Been a staple of our community for a long time. Told me that this should be a good one. So if this ain't good, this one's on Westies. So Rico.
Is that an Aston? Is that what we're looking at?
That's
right now?
a 177. That is a multi-million-dollar car we're looking at right now. The beauty of Forza, where you can kind of just get away with whatever you want as long as you can make the chassis work. Don't have to worry about fixing it. Rico in the lead in that E46. And then Koenig giving chase in the 177 Aston Martin. Here comes the wing. Turn one. Good angle from Rico. A little bit shallow is Koenig, but he's got that proximity. Big flick into the second half of this run. Rico kind of just hanging out there. Lead position, over-rotating a little bit. Koenig's going to give him a little bit of a helping hand there to keep him straight, or keep him drifting, rather. Rico, not a bad run, but Koenig was on him like very close.
Like very close. Very close. Number one. Number one, Koenig Ace. He was all over him. Rico dang like Zhang, he was putting it down. I really liked how Rico handled that second outer zone. Koenig, you can see him kind of just really chomping at the bit, wants to get into the side of that BMW, but I admire the composure to say, like, no, I'm not just going to slam into you because we can. That shows good driving. That shows good etiquette, right? Zhang was never contacted, but he still kind of overcooked it. Again, I'll say it again, in that peninsula. I mean, really great driving. Westies was right. I would say it was the best so far, but collectively, the etiquette, the kind of expectations were right there.
I'm excited to see what we can see from Rico in this chase position. Maybe, can we calm down a little bit by not being able to lead? That is a lot of pressure, having to lead. And again, but in contrast, that Aston Martin is not a slow car, as we see, leaving him on the straight, but Zhang's going to catch back up. Rico right there on the door of Ace, taking a little bit of a different line to try to stay with him. Into the wall, he is, but as Ace over-rotates in the lead position, not getting any of that outer zone like he was looking for. Fluidity and angle, but not quite the line. Rico almost had a complete opposite run, where both individual mistakes from both these guys. Interesting call for the judges here as we check the replay. Ace just never looked... He looked confident for the first half of the run. I take that back, but as soon as he got to that outer zone, it looks just like the grip from the Aston with those big rear tires. Rico on the chase, really doing his best to try to catch up to that lead driver. Had to sacrifice the angle and sacrifice his line, but that comes at a cost. That cost is extra speed, maybe a lack of line that you should have been on. Ended up getting into that wall as well.
Yeah, Ace looked a bit spastic there on the front, and Ace didn't really do anything to really complement that. I think he had an opportunity, but independently, he was just all over the place as well. So, I would almost default to the first run because, Ace out front, Rico in the chase position, so going back to that first run is where I would say, like, lead versus lead, chase versus chase, who did what better, you know what I mean?
It's almost like you work with these guys, because every time you explain why you think it's going to go away, I look at the judging chat, and then Koenig wins. Koenig Ace is going to be getting the win there in that blue Aston Martin, moving on into top 32 competition. Ladies and gentlemen, we now just quickly into it. Connor Murphy against XE Jimothy, representing Team Xenon, one of the driving forces in the Forza Motorsport competitive drift community. Connor in the lead in that RX-7, 4 rotary power. Jimmy grabbing a little bit of that curve to get back onto the... Oh, that one was quick, so we'll see if that's a rerun or not. Right on the door of Connor. Connor with a smooth line up in the lead. Maybe going a little bit too quickly into the hairpin, though, which he does. Goes out wide. Jimmy gives him the space to come back in and finish his run. I'm not sure if that's going to be a rerun because of how quick that black screen was. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are driving in this competition, make sure if you're going to leave the lobby, please do so when there is no cars on track, so we do not have this issue again.
Yeah, you 8-bit Brian. I'm joking. You know, taking a look at this, you can see Jimothy. I liked how he chased him down. Connor's looks, you know, he put the car in the right places. I really liked how he's under the bridge. I like Jimothy's. You could see just the composure there. He comes around that peninsula. You see Connor's. He over rotates and brings it all the way out past that peninsula, past that hairpin turn. You know, the vision isn't that good either. So, you know, that kind of comes into play as well, you know, just how you can see the track and, you know, with a dark car, something like the FDRX7 here of Connor's Murphy, Jimothy to that bright white R34, great looking car, I love that thing. Back to the Aston Martin, man, I got to see, was it a Valkyrie or a Lucan? There's only 16 or something in the world. I saw one at in New Zealand just this last December, pretty sweet car.
All right, XC Jimothy in the lead, grabbing Connor grabbing a little bit of that curb as he catches back up to him. Jimmy very smooth in the lead, gonna hit the wall there, a lot of contact with that wall. Going into the hair, but Connor attack, diving in, shoving the door of Jimmy as that run comes to a close. Again, great moments from both these guys. Like the proximity from that FDRX7, but both of them with big mistakes. Connor grabbing a lot of that curb, and Jimmy, if that would have been real life, that car would have been junk.
Yeah, but the Jimothy, if you take a look at it again, around that hairpin, around the peninsula, he was set up to be offline as it was. And then with Connor's Murphy and that FDRX7, he was kind of on the right line. And the R34 Skyline of Jimothy, watch him approach that peninsula. So he kind of makes it tight, but then swings wide. And that could have been a little bit of Connor's Murphy, but at the same time, like, he could have tightened it up as well.
Interesting judging call, gonna have to come here. Great chance to ask the chat who they think's gonna get the win on this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Both drivers having good moments, but both having pretty significant mistakes. Really setting up. Waiting to see if anything. Just making sure we have the replays open for these judges so they have all the tools they need to be able to make a confident call. And they will. Jimmy going to be scoring the win on that one. XC Jimmy in the Nissan Skyline R34 representing Team Xenon. Going to be moving on into the top 16, not to take any away from Connor, going up against, in my opinion, probably when he get a lot of these guys, a lot of these strong ESD pros, a lot of these guys in here that are known to be really strong are very situational. They lack a little bit of consistency. Jimmy, probably one of the better drivers, honestly, between him and Giraffe was a crapshoot when I had to pick who I thought was going to go all the way today. A little bit that he has to clean up, but definitely saw the moments of brilliance from him, especially in that chase run.
What car do we have here? That wing is extra. What is that? Somebody
thought it'd be a great idea to put a 240 in this game and that people would actually want to put this wing on the back of the car.
What wing is that? Like,
I think it's a C West wing, like if I have to guess.
Wow, that thing is
it's dated.
No, I don't think. I mean, I'm pretty old. I don't know if I've ever seen that wing before. That it might be like Arabuni or something like that.
Okay, he's in the wide body 240. Again, that is a new thing to Forza 7 where we are able to run some cars with their wide body kits, which is helpful. Wider track, wider rear tire options. I only tandem up in front in that Corvette. Not a chassis you see too much, but one of our finalists in the top 4 in a Corvette himself. Let's see what Tandem can do. Let's see what Griptify can do in the 240. Tandem in the lead position. Not quite the fluidity we're looking for, but it's Griptify right there on him. A little bit of a nudge. You're going to see a little bit of wavering from the lead car afterwards. Not the smoothest from both these guys, but Griptify doing a great job being able to get on the door of that Corvette. That is not an easy car to be able to chase down like that.
Yeah, neither of these guys really had anything too fluid. It looked like chopped and screwed. Looked like more like Paul Wall there. The wide body S13, the kit. I'm still thrown off by the wing. I don't know if he's throwing up a gang sign or whatever out back.
Horrible. It's atrocious.
But you know what? It's memorable. So you know what? We're talking about it. I only tandem, like you said, out front. You could see him taking a shallower line, and I think Grip Defiant actually helped push him out towards the outer zone in the second outer zone around that hairpin. You could see I only tandem coming around. It's going to come down to the second run. I mean, Grip Defiant, hopefully, you know, he looks at the rearview mirror and sees how ugly that wing is. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking, and cuts it off. I can only say that because it's all bits. It's not real life. It's not real fiberglass or carbon fiber. So I only tandem really needs to push hard on this second half of this battle, and Grip Defiant needs to put down a strong lead run.
All right, Grip Defiant in the lead position in that thing. I only tandem giving chase really needs to pursue his namesake here. A little bit of a shallow. Oh, you hate to see that shallow entry. I was just about to say, tags that inner wall. That's a new one. I haven't seen that one in a while. But Grip Defiant possibly been gifted a win here from I only tandem. Unfortunately, just was entering in the middle of the track rather than all the way to the left. May have been okay if he was situated more towards the left side, but just got in, hit the inside wall, and like some people are saying in chat, not seen that one before. So unfortunate mistake from Iowa Tana, but you got to imagine Grip Defiant being moving on here as we do get the call from the judges. Grip Defiant getting the win. Hope you like this wing because you're going to be seeing a little bit more of it.
Somebody was calling me out and saying I haven't seen that. Maybe I have, and I just chose to forget it. I don't know.
It's the Forza.
They're saying it's a Sylvia S15 Rocket Bunny wing. Again, S15, one of the most beautiful factory vehicles next to the FD RX-7 off the showroom floor, and then you start putting the right things on it. That I do recall that, but
the go-ahead from our judges. I think we're ready broadcast side, and there we go. Sky gonna be in the lead. Dan gonna be giving chase. Sky, as you saw, both these guys very, very fluid. Should be a good battle here. Sky entering. Dan a little bit early, a little bit shallow, but he's going to use that to his advantage to be able to make up the ground. A little bit of contact. The rear bumper is Sky. Going to have to watch that back. Dan going to give him a little bit of space now to be able to make his own independent mistake. Sky not quite getting the flick that he looked for coming into the hairpin. Across the line. Good job from Dan to be able to make up for that mistake. Again, good job from Sky as well. As getting a little bit of that wall, but didn't quite zero out. So both these guys are going to have runs on the board.
Yeah, going off of Sky's first battle in the 32, it looked like he had some more composure here. And Danny, talk about composure. He saw some mistakes from Sky early on, and but you could see the fluidity from that Ferrari, as you said. No limitations here. But Danny, you see him just barely tap the brakes under the bridge. Sky gets into that wall, and Danny gives himself some room there. And then, like you said, Sky goes to that outside zone. When he leaves that outside zone into that final, peninsula, you can see him take that outside line, but did not take that flick. And that's kind of what he needed, really.
Yeah, I think he just needed a big exclamation point to be able to make up for that mistake again. We'll have to watch it on the replay again. Not sure if there was actual contact there between those two drivers or if it was just a sense of lag, but and Sky fully capable, been driving with him and against him for a long time. Sky fully capable of making up the deficit here, but Dan really impressing out there in that Corvette. Very, very smooth, very fluid. Oh, Sky, not the entry he was looking for. Entered way too early. Gap opening. Danny going to have a little bit of a safety net here as Sky is going to work his way back up to the door of Danny. Transitioning into the hairpin. Shallow line by Sky. Gets to the door. But is that too little too late?
Yeah, so taking a look at this again. Danny, I think Sky just... Danny... From his first battle, taking that into this, going around the track one more time, looks like he just has learned this track, and Sky just still a little bit wonky from overall perspective.
I'm just going to wait for the judging as we're looking through the replays here. Again, what you want to watch is that run one. The Sky kind of just took his time with the transition there, and there's a thing in Forza called hitboxes. Again, if you would watch any other racing game or any other online game, you'll see cars kind of lag around a bit. Forza compensates for that by giving you kind of a buffer in your front bumper. And this game did a lot to you know, helped us out with drifting in the drift community, with drift suspension, and obviously the Formula D pack and a lot of stuff they did on Forza's end to help us out. But when this game was made, they weren't really taking into account that we would be having cars this close on the track at all times. So judge is going to have to look at that, and that's why I'm lucky we have our judge Westies in there. Westies has been around the Forza scene for about as long, if not longer, as I have. So he's in there going to be helping out the judges of Andy Hateley and Brian Eggert, just to make sure that they're aware of little foibles and little weird niches that come with Forza that don't really happen in real life.
Yeah, it's great to see Andy kind of, you know, and a few of the people behind the scenes kind of put this together. I know Andy, when I got on the call on the Discord, he says, "Thank you for doing this. We're all kind of missing out," right? I mean, when it comes to real life, but it's like Second Life. But also Brian Eggert, you know, making some time and to do this as well. It's pretty rad. We'd all be in Long Beach right now, and we'd go to the Pike Bar tonight. So I'll be at a bar, but it's going to be at my house, not a Pike Bar.
Yeah, I think that's the plan for everybody tonight. I mean, it's a Saturday night, and I know a lot of us as fans were really looking forward to the new season starting. A lot of exciting stuff with Daigo coming back as well, might be able to take it to James Dean. James Dean absolutely running away with the championship. Well, not running away with the championship, but really making Formula D his own over the past 2 or 3 years, you know.
New Supra, man. We got Osbo in the mix, too. It's brand new Supra, yep. Turks, and the Corolla hatchback. And there's a few new cars that have been under construction that I don't think a lot of people were expecting. So, I mean, Vaughn and Chelsea, you know, those guys. Odie, you know, Odie and his new S15, essentially.
Yeah, it's been a really exciting year for motorsport leading up to the spring. But
and then everybody popped a flat tire and just got stuck on the side of the road.
Pretty much. That is going to be Danny getting the win. Danny in the red Corvette. Going to be moving on into our next round of competition here. So we're going to be moving on to our second top 16 battle. Going to be
in competition here. You can drink and drive, so hopefully those are of age can just have a crispy boy and just hang out and drift with their friends.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but it's definitely something you can do.
Well, you can do it in a game, is what I'm saying, right? I mean,
yeah.
Is it legal? I mean, you know, we're not you know, doing breathalyzers here or anything like that.
It's a choice you have to make. Wouldn't be the first time I heard of someone having a few wobbly pops and getting behind the wheel.
Wobbly pops. Did I hear an A earlier? Or are you guys Canadian?
I am Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You're out and about in a houseboat. You and
I'm just trying my best.
Trying my best. Sorry.
I was waiting for that.
Sorry, A. What are we doing here? Did these guys already win and they're just already celebrating?
They're
joking.
just getting their tires. Yeah, okay.
I'm joking.
Sky's just chilling. I don't know what Sky's doing.
Yeah, Sky's, is he protesting right now? Is he going to yell at the judges? Is he going to talk to formerly Robin Nishida? And now I don't even know who our judge coordinator is. But Eggert, is he yelling at you right now?
He's just vibing, man. He's just having a good time.
He's just vibing.
So you listen to some sweet EDM or something? Oh, look at giving a little love tap. Hey, Sky, get out of the way. There
That's a message received right there.
Yeah. Shots fired across the nose.
So another AOM versus TDR battle. Again, different driver with Killy going to try to avenge his teammate of Bowtie. And so here they go. Van out of the way. Waiting for that 400 marker. And here we go. Boy in the lead. Big entry from Boy, but Killy's going to be right there with him. Not quite getting the angle is Boy, but going to use that for his advantage, and there it is, little hit of the wall. Killy going to throw some extra angle just in case there was an issue there in the lead, but not happening. Getting right there to the door. You're going to see a lot of follow drivers are getting really aggressive on that last hairpin through that peninsula. But, you know, I think just playing it smart with Killy, just kind of giving a guy some room. A lot of these guys may have gotten practice, but not practice with each other. So maybe just giving some space to that lead car. It actually worked out for him because, as we saw, Boy getting a little bit of the wall, not really hurting him too much, but definitely something the judges are going to be looking at.
Boy threw it in really confidently. I liked how he did. Killy in that chase position. See some wavering there, but keeps it together. Then Boy getting that wide swing, taps the ball, but stays in it. That looks a little reminiscent of Jeff Jones to me, just his line and just going and tapping it, kind of resetting, set it and forget it, bouncing off the wall, and then just kind of ricocheting into that final peninsula.
You can get away with that wall a lot, too, within the confines of the game. You could pretty well hit it at full speed, as long as you have the car set at the right angle, you're not going to lose too much. It's when you start to understeer and try to get yourself off the wall, that's when you make that contact, you end up getting those big issues where you see guys straighten out. So we have Killy going to be in the lead position here. Switching up. Boy and Chase. Killy getting a little bit more of a shallow line. Going to open. Okay. Going to open the gap, but Boy just not getting the angle he was looking for. Getting into the wall. Going to see if we can salvage a bit of a run here, but got to, oh, yeah, a little bit of an over angle as well. A little over rotation going into the last hairpin. Going to be a shutdown from Boy. Got to imagine that's got to be Killy avenging his teammate in Bowtie.
Yeah, Killy really put it together there, and Boy just, man, is that, do you attribute that to tire loss there? I mean, they were doing an extra long Bernie. Did Boy burn too much of a tire, and Killy had some horsepower in his back pocket? It seems like he pulled it out at the right time, and Boy just slamming into wall to wall.
It could have been tire wear. It could have been tire warmth as well. Maybe the front tires weren't to the temperature that that Boy was looking for, because he just never looked comfortable from the initiation. Didn't look like the car got the angle he wanted, and when he got on power to try to catch up to that Mustang, the front end just took off on him. So, oh, his wheel fell off the desk. That would cause that. So.
Oh, so actually his equipment in real life, it fell off?
I mean, technical failure, man. It's same.
Can he call a comp timeout? Can we get his equipment back?
I mean, like, we still have issues like that where guys will have like disconnections, or they're a lot of the really strong guys that you're going to see in the field today are on a racing wheel. They'll have issues where like their wheel will cut out or whatever, and within competitive Forza, that's viewed as almost like a technical issue, as you to have a tie rod break or a tire debead. We don't give second chances. If you have some sort of technical issue,
Nope.
that's on you. So
yeah, I can imagine. That's poor preparation, right? That's the nickel part that breaks. It's your zip tie. It's your Zeus class, whatever, man. Like,
Renegade gonna be going against Rampage. This should be a good one. All Chevrolet battle here. The C7 Corvette up against the Forza Edition Camaro, who comes with its own pros and cons, having that wider stance, be able to run a wider tire on that car. The Renegade in the lead in the Corvette, entering a little, very, very smartly. Not quite getting all of that outer zone though. Going into the second half of the run, Rampage really going to have to cut the track to catch back up as Renegade gets into the wall. Not too much. They're going to be able to continue the run. Rampage just not having the proximity that he was looking for. Renegade had the door open several times, just not close enough to capitalize.
I feel like this is a wrestling match here. We got Renegade versus Rampage, Corvettes, and we're cracking PBRs and listening to Kid Rock. Here we are, America. We got an all-black tie affair. We got 2 Corvettes or whatever we got, man. Look at this, man. We got Renegade versus Rampage. Sorry. Actually,
I thought it was listening to Gorilla Monsoon there.
I know, right? Like Coco Beware versus Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Here we go.
Another thing you have to take into account too is the tire size. Normally, when we're running competitive events, we do have a similar rule set to Formula Drift, whether it's a tire to weight rule. So if you run a certain car with a certain weight, you can run a certain tire size. The reason we don't see this C7 Corvette is because it's locked to, I believe, 325 millimeter, 335 millimeter. That could have been a reason why we saw that gap open so wide. But again, Rampage just did not look like they were set too much in the chase position. But we're going to see what they can do in the lead. All the tools going to be at Rampage's disposal now. Renegade going to have to chase him down. Rampage doing a great job through the first half of the course. Renegade not looking too set in chase. Big angle from Rampage in the Camaro up in the lead, getting all of that outer zone going into the hairpin as well. Renegade just not, again, more of the same story, just not there. And again, you want to end that run with an exclamation point. Didn't really get all of that exit.
Yeah, there was definitely a win of opportunity there, and you see Renegade. These guys, we're in the top 16 now, is where you need to flex your all-American muscle, man. I mistakenly said 2 bow ties. I guess you could say cross flags and a bow tie, but you know what I meant. So taking a look at, yeah, thank you. I appreciate your acceptance of my dumb knowledge here. So yeah, out front the Camaro, you could see him under the bridge, but you know, Renegade, man, needed a strike. He has that fluid line, but Rampage seems to have that kind of extra piece of flair. He just throws it out there, and Renegade, as you said, I do love how. So, do you guys listen to me that much? And like, I feel like you're saying something, like I'm hearing myself right now. You put the exclamation point on it and some things, like I feel like you use some of my idioms and for your talk.
I mean, when you're a fan for 10 years, you kind of pick things up unbeknownst to them. Now that I'm on the spot.
Well, I'm not, you know, it's not a copyright infringement or anything. I'm not going to sue you. I'm just asking, just asking. Say that.
Oh, one more time.
Oh, we got it one more time?
Yeah, that is a one more time call.
And
you know what?
Agree more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as we were going over those runs, I don't think that Renegade had the chase run to be able to really seal the deal. Rampage spent most of his follow run trying to catch up to Renegade, and Renegade had all the tools to be able to put an exciting chase run on it, but just never really got. Reminds me of Vaughn Gittin, that one run with Vaughn Gittin. It's just a bunch of years ago. Vaughn Gittin versus James Guthrie, where he just wasn't there, played it a little bit too safe, and the judges ended up sending it one more time.
Right. Yeah, and that happens, man. You need to, you have this car, you have this driver, and it just doesn't come together, and you gotta, don't pedal it, man. You gotta, burn them to earn them.
So we're gonna be seeing both these guys again, and they've had a battle against each other. So a lot of these guys, Rampage, one of those guys that I saw in those practice sessions, know he has the skill set and the tool set here. We're going to take the knowledge that he's learned against Renegade. He knows that's a fast car. What can he do in the chase? What can Renegade do in the lead? That's a good start, being able to get on the door as Renegade powers through the power alley here, coming into the outer zone. As both of them get the wall, but Rampage is going to get the worst of it. But Renegade out to lunch there on that hairpin, not quite getting the inside of the hairpin. Both these guys having issues, but I think both of those were independent wall hits, and unfortunately for Rampage, he absolutely got the worst of
it. You guys there?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My 6-year-old son came in. He's like, "What are you doing?" So I just showed him FD because we would be at Former Jeff Long Beach right now. So I'm getting some headphones so he could tune in. So to be honest, I took a little bathroom break there. If I was telling Ryan, I'm like, "Oh, I'll be right back. You got this replay. Go ahead, bud." Or he would do that to me.
All right. So loading back up again. Again, the replay's still playing.
All right. So this is the one more time battle, and yeah, Renegade, like I said, just still very fluid once again, and Rampage has that just kind of electric vibe to it, but just does they need to bring all the pieces together,
Yeah, moments of brilliance, but those moments of brilliance are being thwarted by himself. It looks like big angle coming into the first corner. He's not going to be able to get all the outer zone. Renegade going to have to push him, actually, be able to get that car where Rampage wants it to be. Very nice and fluid in that lead position right now, but Renegade right on the door, trying to do a little bit of contact, trying to be able to get this battle won. Then hitting with the rear fender, not often something you see often. Looked like maybe Rampage was saved, or Rampage saved him. We're going to have to take another look at that, see if that follow car was going to spin or not. But...
And I'm sure that comes into play quite a bit here with the online drifting. So taking a look at Rampage out front in that all-black Camaro. Great initiation. Really loved how nasty it was. But, it looked like it gripped up, took the inside rumble strip, and that's going to throw off that chase driver, right? Renegade's expecting kind of this big, nasty. And that was that, that's what Rampage has, but it needs to bring it out further. If you're not in the, if you're not on the field of play, are you playing? Because right now it looks like he's just kind of kicking it in the corner and just playing with himself as Rampage then brings it under the bridge. You saw Renegade, he has to take a tighter line to compensate for that mistake early on. We talked about the fluidity off of the first turn or first initiation and coming into view. So overall, you kind of have to look at both of them. Now, keep in mind, this is the one more time battle between Rampage and Renegade. We talked about this wrestling match. Who's coming from the top rope? Who's going to be in the chokehold as Armani and Giraffe are warming up the tires?
Well, going to look like Renegade's walking out of Hell in the Cell with the championship belt. Going to be moving
Nice.
on into top 8. And earning his way, being able to move on here. Unfortunately for Rampage, I don't like how similar your names are. Please change them. but unfortunately for Rampage, just playing himself.
Well,
But not a bad job from either of those drivers, but gonna need to see a little bit of if that Corvette wants to move on further, we need to see him clean up a little bit. Speaking of clean, Giraffe gonna be seeing if he can step up into the top 8 here, but he's got Toyo Armani who would like to put a stop to that run and show what he can do up against the ESA Pro driver. So Giraffe in the lead in the Audi BMW, giving chase in the SL65 Black is Toyo Armani. Great entry from Giraffe. Nice and smooth up in the lead position, but Armani right there with him, not letting him go anywhere. We're going to see him close up here. Giraffe shalling up just a little bit to make sure he doesn't get a wall, but Armani right there on the door. Giraffe getting super aggressive in chase.
Oh.
The things that comes with smooth leads is smooth chases, and we saw one right there.
Man, I really like Giraffe's style. You could see him hanging out there. I was going to call him cheater wheels because I thought he was on like some DTM Euros, but he's actually on some 5 spokes on the rears, and they're white because, you know, the cheater wheels are black, but he has the white hoops, but they're actually all white. So when you see him stop, like on initiation, you can see them check up. But Armani, it looks like from his last battle to this battle, seems like he's maybe gained a little bit more confidence. But Giraffe out front, getting that fresh air, especially on the first run too. I don't know if these guys have drifted against or competed against each other. Armani did have some mistakes around the peninsula. He could clean that up. And I think, you know, if Armani puts it together similar to how he did on his first run or first battle, I think this might go one more time because Giraffe, he did have some mistakes in the chase position. You got to keep in mind who he's going against. Have they gone against each other? That comes into play.
And Armani going to be switching positions here with Armani in the lead in that Mercedes. Giraffe in the Audi wagon giving chase. What he is known for, hashtag wagon force. Big entry. Going to get a little bit of contact there. The second half of the power alley. Armani looking pretty set up in the lead. Giraffe a little wide. Going to make the best for the little top. No harm, no foul. Going to try to close the gap in the second half. Oh, just shoving him into the wall there. Aggressive finish. Gonna come down again, which we've seen all day today. Turn one, turn one, turn one. Either that is the catalyst for a close chase run, or we're gonna see a gap open, but it's gonna be a close one here as the judges are calling for replays.
And sometimes that shove, you know, that comes into play of saying that, like, hey, I was here, I've been here the whole time. I'm giving you room to play and room to make mistakes in that lead position. You know, you even do see that in Long Beach, and, you know, coincidentally, Giraffe with that kind of Chris Forsberg inspired livery. Chris would normally do that in that chase position where it's like, all right, you know, kind of a little bit of a gut check. I liked what Armani did, but I don't know if he had the kind of that overall impact that the judges are potentially looking for. I mean, you know, you got to see what, you know, Armani does. You know, the unsponsored vehicle, I like it. It's a unique car, but as is Giraffe, but he's got that livery, and that kind of speaks volumes, right? It's all of it. And Giraffe, as you say, you know, he has some driving prowess. He can put it together, and I think that was a little warning shot for Armani when they cross that peninsula.
Well, we're gonna see if either driver can clean it up, as they're gonna be going one more time. Judges deeming that a one more time battle. I think it's got to come down to the contact in turn one, maybe being put at fault to Giraffe. Luckily, again, being within the confines of Forza Motorsport 7, not gonna have to wait for these cars to get fixed or get checked over.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that call? Do you think they should have gone with the time?
It makes sense. It makes sense because, again, Giraffe maybe got a little bit too aggressive, and especially with the first corner more so than the last corner. Turn one, he looked like he maybe could have given Armani a little bit of room to breathe there. That was, I think, the only thing that keeping it from being a Giraffe win. But Armani, you know, not to take away from him, but Armani is doing just as good of a job of being there, being consistent, staying close. And again, Giraffe is not an easy person to go up against, and he seems like he's on point today, which is something for him.
I actually digitally just stabbed Brian Eggert with a knife in the judge's booth right now. I'm joking.
Giraffe up in the lead position. Armani giving chase. Armani doing a much better job of a chase run. Giraffe very, very set in that lead position. Nice and smooth and fluid up in the lead. But Armani getting a little bit of contact going into the second half of the corner. Giraffe just looks like he's on another level, putting down 90-plus qualifying runs in the lead position. But Armani, I think, did the best job of anybody today, staying with him, keeping consistent angle, matching the angle of that lead car, and being able to maybe get in the head of Giraffe a little bit, because this is not his first one more time of the day either.
Yeah, neither were flawless runs. Giraffe did have a mistake going from that second outside zone into that hairpin, but on initiation, you saw both of them. Great composure, textbook initiation by Giraffe. Armani, a little bit shallow, could have been deeper, mimicking Giraffe's line, because Giraffe used all of the course coming from under the bridge to that outside zone in front of the fans. And then when they came into that peninsula, Giraffe had a little mistake. Looked like he was kind of, shallowing up, almost gotten into the wall, which we've seen plenty of cars being written off, right? That's just a weird spot. You would assume kind of into that first touch and go, the tire wall, the second tire wall. It's called the Turk wall. But like back in the day, Casper Canule going into that wall on that transition into the peninsula. Man, why did that come back to me in waves? I have no idea. But Armani will lead and Giraffe will give chase.
Armani sitting on a
time you heard the name Casper Canule for all any
Not recently.
Yeah. Some of you guys,
recently at all.
Yeah, you weren't even born when he was drifting.
All right, a little bit. Oh, Giraffe doing the exact same thing he did last run. Just looks like he went for a little bit of a shallow chase line. But Armani, door wide open. We've seen an overtake already today, but Armani way offline. I'm so glad I'm not a judge right now.
No, that's easy, man. Come on. Armani made a massive mistake there. I really do like the SL, but unfortunately that was a perfect example of making that mistake, and Edgar can attest to this, Andrew Hateley can attest to this, and even if you're in, but in real life, we've seen that quite a bit. That is a massive mistake, and that is more than a door wide open. That is, here, take the whole house, steal everything, because Armani said, here you go, buddy.
The thing I was looking for is just to make sure Giraffe didn't zero on that wall. He did straighten out significantly, but the car maintained drift. Another thing, too, is we're used to working with guys that are very well-versed in Forza. And I mean, as much as I like to give props to our ESTA judges and our judges here, different skill set from judging a video game to judging real life. So I don't want to I'm trying not to say calls early.
Dude, it happens.
Hey,
you know what? Own it, bro. Own it. Just own it, and that's how you got to do it. You got to dig the hole and lay in it, and then pour the dirt over your body and bury yourself. That's how it happens, because at the end of the day, it does come down to opinion. It does come down to perspective. So if we're utilizing Formula Drift rules and kind of expectations of what Judge is looking for, that for me, in my mind, Armani would have made the larger mistake, and that was a massive one. That was a Grand Canyon of a mistake. So again, based off of FD rules, and I'm just coming to this absolutely blindly, but I'm trying to adapt to what your expectations are as well.
I mean, you're doing a great job. A lot of stuff you're catching before I see it. I mean, it's really, really similar in terms of what you're looking for as well. And our rule book is, I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming they're probably going to be going off of more FD standards, especially with considering who's judging, with Andy Hateley, Brian Eggert, and Westy's in there, being our Forza liaison. Appreciate all that. I appreciate Andy putting this event on. We could have all just been sitting here on our couches doing nothing today, but at least for drift fans, we have something to watch, something to participate in. Again, for those in chat that are maybe watching the broadcast that are maybe, I didn't know that this side of Forza existed. We're here. We've been here for over 10 years. ESDA has been a thing, our top level competitive, but there are more introductory series as well. Again, we had a spec 350Z tournament today for people who maybe not familiar with tuning, maybe not familiar with car building. Just to get comfortable in battling each other. So at any skill level, if you're interested in drifting competitively with tandeming and judges, there's so many doors within Forza Motorsport 7 for you, whether you want to go right to the tippy top or just want to get some battle experience with some people that are maybe within a similar skill set to you.
And what are the percentages of people using handheld controllers as opposed to a sim or wheels and pedals and stuff like that? What do you think the percentage is?
So Forza 7 is kind of a unique beast in terms of with the pro esports guys in racing. The fastest combination is a controller, whatever one you like, whether it be an Xbox controller, third party, what have you, and then sim steering. So Forza has a certain steering setting that you can get. As Giraffe is getting the win there. Giraffe going to be taking the win over Armani. Shows what I know. We're gonna get that ready, but left a stamp on the competition for sure. Both these drivers as well. Up right now, Gambit, Carter, going to see if they can make their way further into the competition with Gambit in the chase, Carter in the lead. Carter not quite getting all those touch and goes, but Gambit following them through right there with them, very, very close, but still giving them a little bit of room to maneuver there in the lead position as we see a little bit of a late transition from that GTR looping it. second half, again, like we talked about earlier, there's not a huge difference in the change of surface there, but you do feel it. Another thing you do feel when you transition there is the elevation change. It's very minor, but it does cause issues, like you just saw Carter over rotating.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm at Long Beach, just something like that. You know, the conditions changing from the asphalt. You know, the sun, the elements, and we've been at Long Beach when it's rainy. We've been at Long Beach when it's really hot. So this is something that is not too unfamiliar to us when we're in person at these hollowed grounds. Now we can call them that, and looping it out, spinning across that peninsula. That's when you just overcook it, and unfortunately, you know, it's man, there's no leftovers because you burnt the whole meal, man.
So going to be switching positions. Carter really going to have to put on a show here. Going to be a Gambit in the lead. Very competent lead driver as well. And one of the drivers pegged to do pretty well today. Going to have a little bit of a jump on that lead. Going into turn one, Carter in a little bit of contact there trying to close up, but Gambit is just checking out. Carter really having to sacrifice his run to be able to gain some proximity on that lead car. Gambit hitting that outer zone, about as good as I've seen anybody hit it today going into the hairpin. Carter just looked like he was hanging on for dear life.
I'm messaging 8-Bit Brian and telling him good job, by the way, just a personal message, but yeah. That was,
yeah, he is in the live chat too as well.
I know, I saw that. And again, just I think there's some great camaraderie. What is the prize purse here today? Is it a high five and a handshake when you see each other in person?
I was gonna say a crisp handshake and maybe a pat on the head. That's about.
Okay. I like that.
About it.
Yeah, good job, buddy.
Depends on how people are doing with their hygiene and self-quarantine here.
Exactly, and yeah, you know, Carter unfortunately had that spin. Looks like he
put something together, but Gambit, you can see really clean. A lot of these guys taking that tighter line on initiation. Some of them push it out to that touch and go, and that can be a little bit of a defensive block. I remember years ago, speaking of Canada, going to DMCC and then eventually Formage of Canada, but early on, even Drift Mania, a lot of the technique was to kind of tap the brakes and throw off the chase driver. Obviously not now, but years ago, and that could be a strategy here because, you know, you got to use all your tools. We don't want to see that. We want clean driving, and now that you have, like you say, these judges, they know what to look for when it comes down to dirty driving.
Yeah, I mean, it is something you do see in Forza. There is still the mind game tactic. That's one of my favorite parts about it, being able to do competitively. Are going to see Gambit getting the win. Moving on here, Ace versus Toyo J. Let's see if it can be another Toyo driver. Moving on, definitely doing a great job in the lead position, getting the about as good as I've seen anyone run that outer zone. Right on the wall is Toyo J. Haven't seen a lead run like this since Giraffe way earlier in the competition. Ace not necessarily having a bad run behind him, but definitely didn't have the proximity to keep this even. Got to imagine that Jay is sitting on a little bit of a safety net here going into the second half.
Yeah, Toyo, great execution. Toyo J putting it all the way out there and going from wall to wall, from that touch and go to under the bridge. You can see just really clean fluid lines, minimal corrections. I mean, you can see those front tires look at fully locked, transition, boom, and then boom, from the windows to the walls, right past the wacky wave inflatable crazy arm guy. Elliot Ace there in the chase position, and then, you know, you can see him shallowing up. He's front row in a clinic. Toyo J, like you said, being reminiscent of Giraffe in that Audi. That would be a great fun battle, if not finals. Right now, it looks like Toyo J rising to the occasion here in top 16. That wing, gotta love that Elliot Ace. You can see it dropping over, you know, scraping some carbon up there on those concrete walls. And Toyo J looks like he has an advantage, and Bell Racing's gonna move or start the second half of this battle.
All right, here we go. Ace in the lead. Well, again, we haven't. Oh, cool. Actually, that was great. We had a little bit of an issue there, but we should be good to go, hopefully. Getting into the run. Ace looking like he entered a little bit narrow. Jay going to be right there on the door with him. Both those drivers keeping it off the wall. Great job for both of them. Ace not quite and get the line he's looking for. Going to cause contact with Jay. Ace out into the wall. Let's see if he can fix the rest of his run here. Not great recovery from Ace. It's very difficult to take a mistake like that and be able to get the rest of the run. Jay, though, maybe getting a bit too aggressive in that chase.
Yeah, taking a look at it, you know, I'm kind of a step behind you as far as watching the real time and hearing you and talking about it. It seemed that Elite kind of went in. Toyo J did keep his composure, but then when it came to the second, I think that Ace actually, he had an opportunity to kind of separate himself, but he checked up. So Toyo J didn't really have any place to go. So, you know, and he shallows up. So there might have been some contact, but it wasn't that volatile towards, from the Mustang into the Camaro. So I would say that Toyo J, basically going off of that first run and then into the minimal contact here and there, which we would hopefully expect to see that car control and getting, because they were parallel. It's not like he, T-boned him. He was parallel with them. So I think that gave, Ace an opportunity to kind of straighten, or keep that angle and not straighten up. So in my eyes, I would say that Toyo J has the win here, just especially based off of that lead run.
All right, judges asking for run 2 to be enhanced if we can get that done on the production side. That's something I missed actually when I was watching that run live. Is the little checkup? It's hard to catch, but you do see the front end of that Camaro kind of just not rotate fluidly as you would expect it to as we get to the battle big on screen here. Looked like Jay may have been pushing a little wide, but in that first corner.
But watch, Elite, he makes this mistake, and Toyo he mimics his angle, doesn't fully T-bone him, and Elite could have corrected and gotten out of that.
And as soon as the contact's made, that's when that gap opens, and that's when Ace takes off too as well. And that's a place we have seen him lack maybe a little bit of consistency when it comes to his speed throughout the day.
And that gap does naturally come because when they straighten out, it's going to grip up. So boom, straightens up, pieces out. You see the smoke come back on because gaining that traction and also gaining the side bite, getting the slide going.
Yeah, and when you're that close too, there's only so much you can do when you're reacting to a mistake from a lead driver. Like, I mean, if there was a mistake there from Jay or from Ace, I don't think Jay had that much time to be able to like pull e-brake or give that lead car room. I don't think it's anything nefarious, of course, but as soon as contact was made from those two drivers, that's when you see that lead car just take off, which is something that I completely missed in the first time. I thought Jay was just getting a little bit sendy, but looking it over again, you're definitely seeing some issues in the lead there.
Ask the chat, what do they think? Is it Toyo J and the Mustang? Is it Mustang or Camaro?
I'm seeing a lot of J's. Would really like to see their opinion. Yeah,
a lot of J. JJ Mustang. I mean, this is what they're saying.
Gay car. Thanks, Puppet. Very cool.
The Formula D van gets the win.
I mean,
wait, hold on. We're getting from the judges. Chris Forsberg gets the win.
Throwback is Tony Angelo. Good old time.
Yeah, right. Tony Schultz gets the win. Andy Sapp gets the win.
Talk about throwbacks. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Dennis Mertzanis gets the win.
But that is going to be Jay moving on. I guess chat was right. Again, like they always are. They're never wrong. Jay going to be moving on, getting the win.
Are we in top 16 now?
We are now in top 16. Ace and lead, Looney giving chase. Ace taking off in that Aston Martin 177. Looney really having to work to catch back up to him. Ace in the wall. Looney going for an overtake, not being able to pull it off. Oh, dear. Looked like Ace was in the wall. Looney was trying to avoid the collision by going shallow. Ace being able to recover the car. Door closed. But at that point, you're already committed.
Yeah, at that point, Ace hung out there way too long. If he was just in the waiting room and kind of buffering, Looney was rightfully so kind of going for that pass, because if that was in real life, the car would have been sent. He would have buried that back bumper up to the rear wheels, with that.
All right, just some technical issues on our side. Jarod will be back in here just a second. Probably having some connection issues, but again, that is something that the judges do look at as if you made a contact with a wall, if that was real life, would you have been able to recover that or not? The judges being a little bit lenient with that one wall, but the outside wall, but not with that one. As Ace really having to cut corner to keep up with Looney. Looney being able to be very, very fluid and smooth up in that lead position. Maybe get a little bit of that outside wall. Very, very close as Ace on the chase, though. A little bit of contact going into the hairpin. That's all fine and good as Looney powers out that Alec Honodell S14. But Looney doing his best to be able to see if he can wrap this one up and move on into the Grade 8.
And Keenan, that Aston is fast. You can see the speed earlier in his lead as well. Unfortunately, that mistake maybe taking away everything that he had gained by the gap that he had gained. But like, you could just see it with I mean, Looney is not a slow driver. We've seen him around for so long. He's very quick with what he does. He's very fluid as well. But Koenig and that Aston is just all over him throughout the entirety of this run. It's a great follow, but unfortunately, you know, depending on what the judges say, that first run could be detrimental to this battle.
All right, we got Jimmy and Grip Defiant for our second half of this top 16. In this lobby, again, we're running it kind of in chunks.
And Looney gets the win.
Official word, yep. This official word, Looney going to be getting the win. Can't really, especially with that first run, can't really imagine it was going to go any other way. But Looney doing himself the best job of putting us an exclamation point on that lead run. Again, we've seen better lead runs, but that was still probably, if it was qualifying, probably a high 80, at least getting very aggressive with that wall. So we got Grip Defiant and everybody's favorite 240. Sounds like it's a V8 power, LS1 power 240 with Jimothy in the chase in the R34. R34 super stable. As we think we have Jarod back. Jarod, you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, cool.
Just to prove that a 20-plus-year-old car can beat a high-end exotic car.
Welcome to the beauty of Forza, my friend.
Yay, old people. So yeah, like you said, Grip Defiant back with that S13. I don't mind the wide body, still vomit-inducing. But the XE, Jimothy, and the R34, always love the R34s, especially the 4 doors.
Oh, you hate to see that. Jimmy really cutting that corner. Really on the door. Grip Defiant now trying to make up for that mistake. Gotta imagine he's kicking himself for that right now. Grip Defiant not putting down a bad lead run. A little bit too inside there. A little bit of an over-rotation, but nothing that's really super detrimental to him when Jimmy is possibly sitting on an incomplete.
Yeah, interesting run here for both these guys. I wouldn't say that either was kind of outpowering the other, but interested to see. Let's take a look at the replay.
There's absolutely 2 front tires off of that rumble strip, and I'm not sure what rule set they're using. I don't know if they're going to be super. I don't know if they're going to be super
strict. If they're going to uphold to that, yeah. I mean, I mean, in this circumstance, we've seen people kind of dabble and be right on the fringe, right on the cusp. But I would say that just let them run, and let the cream rise to the top. Because I mean, Jimothy, he was out there, but as was Grip Defiant. Grip Defiant was kind of flirting with the edge of the course as well. So that's a hard act to follow. So for Grip Defiant to say, hey, come out here, but not that far is a little tough to ask. So I'm interested to see on what Jimothy is going to put out with Grip Defiant in the rear view.
Jimothy doing a great job in that first corner, really redeeming himself, not quite getting a lot of the power out, but Grip Defiant is right there with him. Jimmy, not the easiest driver to follow, but Grip Defiant really making sure that his name is not going to be forgotten today. Right on the door, Jimothy, and did we just see one of the favorites, one of our ESA Pro drivers, get knocked out in the top 16? Grip Defiant doing everything he needed to do, I think, in that chase position to be able to keep himself in the game here.
Yeah, and Jimothy, I'm surprised that in that lead position, he did not get out to that second outer zone. That was kind of easy for him to do. Watch this replay. I mean, when, he does it, again, both of them shallow on initiation, and I don't know if the track conditions change as the sun sets because they might be getting some more grip, but Jimothy just failed to get out to that second outer zone, so Grip Defiant does a good job accommodating that shallower line, and he's not paralleling him in the mimicking of the angle, but he still does keep that proximity.
Judges asking for replays here. And that might be a lot closer to call. Not to take away from Grip Defiant, I can only go off of people that I know, people I recognize. Like I said, Jimmy got a lot of seat time in this game, definitely no slouch. But Grip Defiant, the guy I practiced quite a bit with,
he was absolutely taking it to him.
Mm-hmm. He just was right there with him. Especially in that chase, I expected him to pull away. And with the upset, Grip Defiant moving on into the top 8. That is going to be XE Jimothy knocked out of competition here in the top 16. Got to imagine Jimmy's kicking himself after that one. Unfortunately, just played himself, you know, like Jimmy is one of our, like I said, I've multiple times been singing his praises. Very, very strong driver, one of our ESDA judges in 2019, but maybe just trying to kick the rust off, kick the cobwebs off of maybe not being in the driver's seat as much as he's used to, but not to take away from Grip Defiant. Grip Defiant did everything that they needed to do to make sure that that call went their way. Grip Defiant going to be moving on in the LS240 into Grade 8 competition. There we go. Jay in the chase, Gambit in the lead. Both Mustangs. The lead car is the Shelby. Then we have the Justin Pollock Mustang from the Formula Drift Pack in the chase. Great entry from Gambit. Jay right there with it, but not able to capitalize as he gains ground but loses it almost immediately. Gambit up in the lead position, though. Very, very great job on these outer zones. A little bit of wavering from Jay, going through without touching on the wall. Shoving Gambit out of the way. That's your teammate, brother. What are you doing?
That's how it goes, dude. You know what? It's all fair in love and war. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Drift Alliance battles. We've seen, you know, JTP and Vaughn Gittin Jr. battle out. These are the Brostangs. This is how it happens. And keep in mind, they are Mustangs, right?
That is true. If they got no crowd to hit, then that's the next best thing.
Yeah, those concrete barriers really making it hard to be in their natural habitat.
They're like velociraptors just looking for fresh meat.
Gambit getting a little bit of that tire wall as well. Not sure how that's going to be viewed. Either maybe Gambit was going wide, maybe Jay just got aggressive, but they're going to be switching positions here. We've seen Jay put down arguably one of the best lead runs of the day. I saw Andy Hateley jumping in the chat saying run of the day. In his opinion, one of our judges right now.
Aren't judges supposed to be unbiased? And there he goes, just calling it out like that. Come on.
I mean, that's another little bonus part of being Forza. Everything's a little bit closer. You're not as removed, even as a fan, from the judges and stuff. We'll normally get them in here to talk about judging calls as well. Gambit leading, or Gambit chasing rather. Jay leading. Jay again putting out one of the best lead runs of the day, looking like he's on track to do that again. Gambit right there in the pocket though, as he closes into that transition. Very, very close and very fluid from both these guys going into the hairpin. Maybe Jay cutting a little bit short of that hairpin. Gambit taking the proper line, losing a little bit of proximity there, but very, very smooth and fluid from both these guys.
Yeah, Gambit a little bit shallower than Jay out front, but overall, you know, he's accommodating. Like you said, this is what you said was going to be one of the battles of the day, and given the track record, no pun intended, that they should, you know, with them being teammates, they drive against each other, they have some fun. But look at the side by side. You could see Toyo J out front uses all of the course. Gambit, I'd like to see him in the chase position get a little deeper. Again, just yank that e-brake a little bit more to get that back end a little bit closer to the wall. I mean, I'm not surprised if this goes one more time, just to see what we can really expect from both these guys going door to door.
So, actually, getting word now that Gambit has been decided the winner, and I'd really love to hear what the word is from the judging booth. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Andy Hateley real quick to maybe delve a little deeper into why the decision was that Gambit was deemed the winner there.
With Gambit and Jay here. Well, basically, Jay has been running like the best lead runs all day. That's what he did in his lead run right there. But unfortunately, in his chase, he made a slight mistake. Or not a slight mistake, but Gambit just kind of ran away from him, causing him to waver coming into the hairpin right before they transitioned. And then Jay kind of pushed him into the tires right there. It seemed like in a little bit of retaliation.
Kinda? What do you mean kinda? He definitely did. There's nothing kinda about that, Andy.
I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He maliciously slammed him into the tire walls because he got outdriven.
Well, he's in JTP's car. What do you expect?
Hey.
All right. Thanks for deliberating a little bit on that for us, Andy.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, Jay's, like I said, like we were so impressed with that first, the last round he was with his lead run. That was just insane. It was the best lead run we'd seen all day, and unfortunately, he just made that little mistake in the chase, and that was the end of it.
The winner of this going to be moving on to our final four. Already moving on very quickly here. Killy in the lead, Dan giving chase. Killy entering a little shallow, going to be heading out to that wall, and there he is. Tire wall for Killy. Dan going to be following him in. That initiation, so critical, somewhere where we've been looking at all day. I don't know if it's, as somebody who has more experience with obviously the real cars at this track, In Forza, it's very this track is very rhythmy and very reliant on fluidity. So if you mess up your first corner, it's very difficult to try and recover and correct that and get a good rest of the run. So Jarod, as somebody who's a little bit more familiar with the real life side of things here, does Long Beach flow like that in terms of real life, as a lot of the driver can do to make up for a mistake?
I mean, from an announcer's perspective, it's a scary track because basically you're coming at it, you're grabbing another gear, and you're going for it. You initiate, and you're staring at a wall, and then it opens up down the chute. So from a judge's perspective, such as Lontaine and Eggert, who's on judging this, you know, you initiate, you're staring at the wall, and then poof, you got this chute. So then you look to your left, and you have this menacing tire wall. You have to hit that first one and lock that in. Otherwise, like you said, the pace and the cadence of it, you're completely thrown off because you've only had 10 practice runs. You know what I mean? Like, so you're completely thrown off for the rest of the run.
That's another beautiful thing about Forza too, is you don't have to worry about tires or paying for tires. A lot of this, you know, a lot of the upfront cost is buying your Xbox or getting your computer ready and buying a wheel. As we get Dan in the lead here, Dan gonna have a significant advantage. But we might see something great from Killy to try to put some pressure on that lead car. Dan doing what we've seen him do all day. A little bit grabbing the handbrake there as we get contact from Killy in the follow position. Not quite sure what attributed that. Gonna have to look at that one again. Looked like maybe Dan was slowing down, going towards that wall and trying to keep off it. Killy was, well, he was doing everything he had to do in the chase position to try to force a mistake from that lead car.
I definitely liked what Danny was doing out front, and you know, it seems like incidental contact. You know, when it comes to brake checks, I'm sure it potentially happens, but I don't think that's going to be a major kind of thing that people are going to practice. They want good fluidity because they're not risking it, right? So Danny looks like he does check up a little bit, but Killy stays into him, and there's no damage, so keep on pace. It looks like it throws Killy off a keel when he comes around that final hairpin in the peninsula. But I like the initiation of Danny. Looks like he did come in tight, didn't use all going all the way out to that touch and go. Under the bridge, looks like he transitions, salvages it, but you see him lock up all the tires. The front, there was smoke coming off the front tires. Then when they transitioned into that peninsula, it looked like Killy kind of took the brunt of that contact because it threw him off of that inside clip around the hairpin.
What you have to look at as well is just to see those front tires. A lot of times in Forza, when you get your car to angle, especially within transitions, you will see puffs of smoke come from those front tires without the tires being locked, which is actually what within competitive Forza drifting, a lot of times you'll see black colored wheels. We don't have the option of being able to have like a strip of color on the wheel. You'll see people ban the use of black wheels, so you can actually see when the tires lock up. Looked a lot like that maybe. He wasn't going to get all that outer zone, but just like in real life, the follow car has to adjust for what the lead car is doing. You can't put all the blame on him when it looked like Killy had all the time in the world to be able to cut some speed and to prevent that contact. But
more games than I do. He's more of the kind of Apex Legends and Fortnite and Rocket League. But finally just got my copies of Forza 7 and Horizon. So I'm going to start playing those and try to get a sim set up, get a wheel.
I'd say Andy's a great guy to talk to, especially seeing videos of him on the sim driving his own car all the time. As we got two more guys on track here. Renegade, the winner of this is going to go on to our final four. Giraffe not quite there yet. I don't know if he's just not confident in the chase. Renegade's line, however, making it a little bit difficult for Giraffe to go on the chase. Big angle from that Corvette as contact is going to be made. Just kind of shortcutting the hairpin there. Again, we don't have the luxury of having visual markers like clipping points, but you can see clearly with the tire rubber where you're supposed to be, where that line is supposed to be. And I think even if the Corvette may have grabbed a little bit of curbing on the inside as well, I'm going to have to watch that back again.
Yeah, it seemed like Giraffe was even frustrated himself. You saw early on initiation, he initiates and Renegade give him enough room, but looked like he gripped up and shot it in the inside on that first initiation. But Renegade actually grabbed a lot of grip coming off that second outer zone. That's why he came up short on that peninsula, on that hairpin, allowing Giraffe to go into the side of Renegade. So both of them, I would call this a wash. I mean, both of them had some major mistakes. Renegade initiation was very shallow, does not go all the way out to the touch and go. Under the bridge, does kind of salvage a little bit of a run there, but then shallows up and shortens up. And we've seen that from many drivers in real life, and now here it is coming into it digitally. So the Wagon Force KNC Giraffe vehicle KNC, he looked really dominant against Armani earlier. Renegade I expect big things from Renegade here in the chase position. He was smoother on his first battles, but now Giraffe has an opportunity to strike.
Absolutely. We've seen him do at his best, I think, in the lead positions today, as Renegade going to be giving chase in that Corvette, and that's the risk you take by choosing a grippy car and having a grippy setup. Will it pay off for Renegade here? Giraffe doing what we expect, very fluid, big angle into that transition. Renegade just not present, as over rotation, gonna have a spin on course. Actually just getting the car saved, as Giraffe using our, just trying to see, yep, does finish out the course. So it is gonna be Renegade. It's sitting on a 0. It just looked like, again, same thing happened, just gripped up, let the car go, and around she went.
Yeah, so Renegade making a major mistake as we see the walk of shame back to the pits and back to the grid, because that's going to be all she wrote for Renegade. Giraffe, you saw initiation using all the course, and this is what I expected. So there's a little bit of celebratory donut and burnout for Giraffe. Heads back up to that start line and feeling the flow. Like you said, just comes with a lot of history, a lot of equity here, and getting the fans hyped. I feel like we're in the building right now. No, I'm just kidding. Giraffe looks like he's moving on to the Final Four.
Yeah, you know, Giraffe, again, somebody that when I saw this bracket last night, I expected to do what he's doing. He's one of those drivers that if he decides mentally that he wants to come out here and take this seriously and really give everyone a run for their money, really seeing that side of him today, really up there and smooth, definitely earned that position in the Final Four. Again, excellent job from all of our staff. This tournament has run very, very, very smooth all day. What are you doing? That's not...
Right as you compliment the man. Come on now.
Yeah, I see what he was going for, but that's not quite... There he goes. Looney in the lead. Griptify giving chase. The winner's going to be moving on to your finals, ladies and gentlemen. As Looney gets up... Oh, that's not good for Griptify. Looney getting a big lead, but flirting with that wall. As Griptify gets a little bit of contact, a preventative transition, Looney's going to grab a little bit of the wall, but keep that car drifting. Griptify right there on him, doing his best to maintain that proximity, be able to get some points with the judges. Looney, other than that contact, which I really wouldn't deem being his fault, gonna have to watch it again to put the stamp on it, but Looney looking really, really good up in that lead. And getting these guys brought back as we go through our replay here. Looney, the only part that I saw that would really give me a spook is maybe he was a little bit early, as we did see in the video going through our track map. We do not have the pleasure of having visual clipping points, but you really want to be hitting that first touch and go near about the Toyota signs, and you saw Looney getting to it way early. Again, can't say that I would blame the contact on that, but it's definitely something to look at from the judge's perspective.
Sorry, I cut out there, guys. Yeah, taking a look at this, you could see coming into that touch and go, and then under the bridge, contact wall to wall just needs to be tightened up here. So Grip Defiant now up front.
Grip Defiant leading, Looney giving chase. Looney going to give him a little bit of room as we hear a little bit of clutch kick going on from that LS Power 240 up in the lead. But Looney right there with him, getting a little bit of contact going into the wall, letting Grip Defiant know who he's dealing with. Grip Defiant, big angle in that horseshoe, but not really quite bringing it out to the wall like we're looking for. Looney, great job in the follow. Grip Defiant looked like maybe he shallowed out there. Maybe he lost a little bit of speed, rather. That's what I meant to say. But Looney doing a great job of checking up for that, and a pretty decent chase.
Yeah, I like this. You know, Looney, Grip Defiant, this is, again, top 8. S chassis, very similar setup, so you can imagine, you know, equally paired, and you know they've made their way through the pack. And here's the side-by-side run with Grip Defiant out front, using all of the course, transitions very smoothly. You could see Looney actually transition before Grip Defiant. That's why he got into the side of Grip Defiant. Now into that final peninsula, you could see some corrections there from Grip Defiant, but Looney, he stays calm, stays cool, stays collected, and brings it across that finish line.
And that calmness is going to be scoring him the win. Ladies and gentlemen, our Final Four is set. Our first driver coming in from that first half of the bracket, way back at the beginning of our broadcast, in that lead, or in that red Corvette. Apparently I get Camaro Corvette confused. Danny O'Dandretti, not a name that I remember seeing, but really doing a great job to come out and make a name for himself today. Not easy competition he's up against, but excellent job from that Corvette in his top of the bracket. He will be going up against KNC Giraffe, a guy that we've been again talking about all day in that Audi RS4 wagon representing KNC Motorsports. Very, very great job from him. Again, one of our ESDA pros. We expected him to be able to come out here and do some damage in this bracket. Not getting the easiest runs the way through, having a lot of trouble with, or having some time with Rampage, AOM Rampage, and TZ Renegade, but he is going to be representing his team of KNC here in the Final Four. Our third finalist here is going to be Toyo Gambit. Speaking of people representing their teams, Team Toyo coming out here in full force, but Gambit, unfortunately, having to take out his teammate to be able to work his way into this Final Four. Gambit doing a hell of a job to make sure that he's out here. He's representing the teammate as best he can, representing Team Mustang as best he can. Again, we've had a lot of Mustangs here, but there's only going to be one in the Final Four, which for Forza is kind of a rare sight. And then finaling out the bracket is your most recent driver here with AOM Looney. Looney, again, another one of our two ESDA Pro drivers in this Final Four. A guy that you expected to come out here and be able to do well, but definitely having to work to get his way into the final. But probably one of the trickiest brackets, or parts of the bracket we saw today, having to take out Broken 240, Koenig Ace, and Grip Defiant. Grip Defiant with a hell of a run in bracket there. But this is our Final Four, ladies and gentlemen. This is it for the rest of the day. I want to know what every person who has a microphone in this chat, who are you liking right now moving on into our Final Four?
Well, honestly, at this point, I really do like the consistency of Gambit. His leads have been very solid, showing a lot of angle throughout the entirety of all of his runs. And I guess you say the same could be said for Giraffe. KNC Giraffe, also known with that short wheelbase wagon to really throw it big and do it consistently. I really hope to see these two potentially face off. I don't know if they're able to do it due to the bracket and how it is set earlier, but I think Gambit and Giraffe could be a really, really solid final if we get to that point. But again, you know, Looney, also another driver who's been on for ages as well, very smooth and consistent. What I love about this Final Four is that we have probably the four most consistent with angles, smooth drivers who made it all the way here into this set of battles. So really, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but it's almost a toss-up for me, Keenan. I'm having a really hard time deciding who I'm favoring in this battle.
There's a reason I asked you guys first, because I was taking the time to pick someone that I wanted that I really liked. And again, another thing too is they're in four completely different cars. We have Dan in the ZR1, which we haven't seen in competition with Forza in quite a long time. We got Gambit in a car that we're very used to seeing, maybe not in this guise, but in the Ford Mustang. Giraffe in that Audi wagon. Again, we're used to seeing that in Forza competition, but completely different from what we're seeing already. And then in one of the Formula Drift cars is Looney in that Aliconadel car. Jarod, from what you've seen today, what you observed, same question to you, who you like it?
Yeah, I really like KNC Giraffe. I'm more akin to the wagons. I love wagons. But Daniel, we've seen him really, we've seen some good driving from him. I would just say that Giraffe brings the fluidity as well as he brings the impact. Also Grip Defiant. I've been knocking his wing, but it comes from a loving place. But, late, he's been on the course most recently, so he might be more familiar with it, might be comfortable. He's just been kind of consistent. That comes into play in real life, so I'm sure it comes into play now. But for me, I'm gonna say Giraffe. I think Giraffe's gonna put it together. Just seeing how he's kind of risen to the occasion.
Giraffe seeming to be the choice of the chat as well, and now we're waiting for Looney just to get back from grabbing tires from doing those little celebratory burnouts. Gotta say, I'm liking Giraffe a lot too. Giraffe, like I said earlier on the top of the broadcast, if he decides to show up and drive to the best of his ability, he's got to be one of the best guys out on course. And Giraffe must have had a pretty big breakfast, because he's been out there and been driving super consistent all day. But he's gonna have to take out Danio Dandretti. Danio doing a really, really good job in that Corvette today as well. Big angle from Giraffe heading into turn one as our first battle of our Final Four. Winner that's going to be moving on to the finals. Danio going to have to close some ground here. Doesn't look like he quite has the confidence, as Giraffe just very set in his ways. A little bit of contact there, moving into this peninsula chicane, this peninsula hairpin, as Giraffe proving everybody right there. Very, very fluid, but not take away from Danio. Danio was right there with him. I just want to see personally a little bit more aggression from him in the follow.
Yeah, Giraffe, he just absolutely delivered. That was what we expected. And like you said, Danio, not a slouch at all. but that's hard to mimic that angle that Giraffe was doing unless he kind of told you the coordinates, you know, latitude and longitude, because that was massive angle there. You could see the smoke kicking off of all four corners, and then into that second outer zone. I mean, that thing was set it and forget it. Put the microwave on for like 2:30 and then just set it and forget it. His dinner was done by the time he crossed the finish line. That was really well executed by Giraffe.
All right, Giraffe going to be in the follow position here. We've seen greatness from him, but what will he have for Daniel and Andretti? As much as we like to talk about how fluid that lead run was from Giraffe, Daniel not really making mistakes rather than just not getting as aggressive as he should. But where we've seen Daniel drive the best is in this lead position. Giraffe making a little bit of contact as Daniel maybe trying to get in his head there a little bit. Just trying to rattle his cage going into the first touch and go. Daniel right there on where he needs to be. Giraffe maybe needs to close in just a little bit more. Almost a mirror of what we saw earlier. Giraffe not just super getting aggressive. Daniel not really getting the line that he's looking for in this hairpin, but being able to gather it all back up. I think we just saw the same run again. Did they switch controllers? Did they go to each other's house? That was super, super similar to what we saw in our first run.
Yeah, that was really fun to watch. I mean, both these guys, very talented drivers. You know, let's take a look at it again. I think side by side will really benefit us, and here it is. So you can see Danio out front. Looks like he doesn't give, you know, let's be honest, Giraffe does not give Danio much room to breathe or give himself room to breathe, because you want to kind of allow for that. I would say that Giraffe was deeper on that second outer zone. Danio goes wide. No, yeah, like you said, around that peninsula, they kind of mimicked each other. But I think what's sensational here is if we were in the building or kind of in the atmosphere of Long Beach and the streets of Long Beach, you would be sensationalized by that second outer zone that Giraffe had. He went to that outer zone very fluidly and very tight, and it seemed to I don't know, that looked good.
Judge is gonna agree there, as I thought, Chad thought it was one more time. I thought it was one more time, but Giraffe going to be getting the win over Donnie Dandretti. Dandretti. We're going to have to double check and see, because we normally do a third place battle, but I'm going to have to make sure before I make any promises. Just before we move into our second half of our final four here. Again, we got Toyo Gambit. Gambit, Shoehorn is one of the guys that we needed to look out for today, and he's absolutely proving that. But Looney, as you said earlier, with the track experience, he's the most recent to have not driven, so he's probably really warmed up right now. This could be a good one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I think Giraffe, I think that's the right call. Like I said, I just think he collectively, you know, we're in the final four. You need to bring it. You need that kind of impact. So, and that's exactly what he did. So, Gambit out front, Looney in the chase position.
All right, Gambit. You're going to have to show us what he can do in the lead. Looney would like to see him get super aggressive in this chase, as we know he can. Gambit not quite getting all of that first touch and go, but he will be there for the second. Looney right there with him and needs to start closing the gap now, which he does. Gambit getting all of that outer zone. Little bit of transition right across the bumper is of Gambit, but Looney over-rotates. Just threw it in a bit too hard. Looks like he didn't get back on the power when he needed to. Looney with a mistake of the day right there. Not what you want to see in your final four.
And that's what you'd expect in pro competition, man, because these guys going against each other, they're tired, they're exhausted, that, you know, all the elements come together. And then, you know, for that's a simple mistake, but it's also kind of expected. You're like, you kind of almost exhale before the finish line, and that's what's going to cause you to mess up. You need to hold it together all the way until you get to the pits and you see your crew guys. And for Looney, watch, I mean, it's just like like it just doesn't. It's a bummer for him, but Gambit's stoked because he's got an advantage. But keep in mind, he's now going to be the chase driver, and what can Looney do that might just wow the judges and be like, yo, I'm going to throw it on this wall. He has nothing to lose, so he better get gangster. Hopefully he's listening to us in some regard, because he has nothing to lose. So risk it for the biscuit, homeboy. Let's see what you got, Looney.
We could potentially see the best of AOM Looney here, the last driver running the flag for Art of Motion against Gambit. Gambit sitting on a bit of an advantage, but he can't play it too safe. As Looney, very, very good line in that first corner, getting all the way out to the first touch and go, and the second one, very fluid transition. Gambit not really in the picture at the moment as Looney make contact with the wall. Going to go a little bit shallow, but gathered all back up as he goes back into the hairpin. Gambit able to close that gap due to that mistake, but he wasn't he was there, but he wasn't the level that I was looking for in a top 4 battle. But at the same time, why would you need to do that when you're sitting on such a huge advantage?
Yeah, that was not what Gambit should have done. And like we said, Looney needed to throw it down. He did okay. I would say it was like a 7.5. It was like a good B minus C plus of what we need to see from Looney. But Gambit should have chilled out a little bit, maybe to, I don't or no, apply. I don't know. Gambit kind of missed an opportunity there. I think he should have gone put the hammer down a little bit more.
Yeah, if he would have got a little bit more aggressive, especially in the first half, he would have got a little bit more aggressive with his chase. I think that it would have been a really, really easy decision.
Yeah, I said chill out, but I guess metaphorically I meant not chill out, but just don't completely relax. Don't take Percocets and just fall asleep, dude. Just like be there, be present,
He is going.
Interesting,
I
right?
agree with him. I'm just trying to find a way to word it properly. But Gambit, I think the only reason that this is going to happen is that Looney is sitting on an incomplete and Gambit is sitting on a deduction. So Looney is going to be losing that one with Gambit taking the win. Gambit going to be your first member of your finals here. We are going to have a third place battle. I just made sure with staff. So Looney is going to be your first of 2 drivers in that Constellation final, vying for that third place.
All right, so clarify that again. Gambit gets the win. Looney goes to the Constellation battle.
Yes.
Okay, so Gambit gets the win. Looney had the mistake around the peninsula. He messed up. Gambit, regardless of him making those mistakes, Looney made a larger mistake. So Gambit moves on. Looney go to Constellation. We will have a third place battle. But didn't we have the other side of the Final Four or no?
Yeah, we did. Dan. This is a tongue twister of a username.
Yeah,
Danio Dandretti moving into this final. The winner will be getting third place of our Constellation final here. Again, Looney got to be hot, at least a little bit hot. I saw some shade being thrown in the live chat there a little bit, but Danio been very, very, very smooth in his driving all day today. Really, I think that we're going to see a clash of smoothness and consistency versus emotion. So we'll be able to see if Looney can put it all together into his run here, or will Danio be grabbing third place? We're about to find out.
Yeah, but next up will be Giraffe versus Gambit for the finals. Looney right now, Danio for third place.
And Looney not getting all of that wall, but very good angle. Danio going to have to close the gap a little bit, and he does. Right in on the rear quarter panel of Looney, transitioning into that hairpin. No mistake this time from Looney up in the lead position. Danio doing much of what we saw from Giraffe. He's there. He's very smooth. Just didn't quite have the stamp to make me drop my jaw and say that he has a super advantage. But no real mistakes either. Nothing really major.
Yeah, I think Looney kind of learned some things from that previous battle. He's going to put it together. He's going to tighten up. He's just going to run his own line, and he did exactly that. So let's take a look at the replay as you see Looney gets out. A lot of these guys taking that tighter line into that touch and go. I guess it's a safer line, but now you know who you're going to go against. I think in the finals, Giraffe and Gambit, we're going to see that. Looney, I have to imagine, is kind of maybe a little frazzled there, kind of taking that loss there, a simple mistake. Danio, I'm very impressed with the way he's driving as well in that Corvette. I'm surprised by how many Corvettes we're seeing in this competition. And then S14 still a proven chassis, so Danio will now lead, and Looney will give chase. This is for third place, the final podium spot for third.
All right, Danio needs a little bit more than what we've been seeing from him today, but this gap is not going to help as he hits the wall. A little bit of contact on that wall. That's going to leave the door wide open for Looney. Looney, like an apex predator, coming right in, trying to seal the deal. He'll at least get himself third place right on the corner, right on the door of Danio, across the line. Not the best start from Looney, but he definitely capitalized on that mistake.
Yeah, I liked what Looney did there. He knows, he saw that, and that was just kicking back. And Yeah, Danny O just hitting that wall early on. We talked about just the pace, keeping it up, and keeping consistent. And with hitting that wall, you can't come back from that right out of the gate, because your mind, and then obviously the physicality of it, just bouncing back on the way the car is going to react. It's a tank slapper, man. In real life, you would see that and that would be over. But in the game instance, you can kind of salvage something, but Looney had enough room where he could kick back and let him, all right, close the tires, I'll be right there. Okay, here I am again. Boom, let's cross the finish line together, because I saw you make that mistake, and I think Looney's going to get that final podium spot.
We do have a winner for that third place battle, but we're going to be moving on to our finals, as we're just waiting for both these drivers to warm their tires. It's got to be one of the most hotly anticipated battles of the day, not just because it is the final. Winner of this battle will be winning the whole gosh darn thing. But these guys, very, very similar styles. We even saw that with their battles in the Final Four, driving very similar, very smooth. Seems like they're very comfortable in that lead position, but when it comes down to it, they really can get aggressive in the chase. We're going to be seeing Gambit leading. And we did not run qualifying. It's an open. It was a closed invitation tournament, so just friends of friends and people that we had lying around, and it was very random seating. So, but because of that seating, Gambit is going to be getting the lead over Giraffe. I think that if Giraffe has a hope in this, he's going to have to put down probably one of the best follow runs he's put down all day. In terms of Gambit, he just needs to continue doing what he's been doing. Very, very confident in the lead position he has been, Gambit, especially in that car. Even though he's both these guys very comfortable in these cars. They drive them quite a bit. Should be a good run here. As we get both drivers approaching the line, our final battle of the day. Normally this is where I steal Jarod's line, but I think I'm going to let him say it for himself. We've had no send-offs all day today.
Yeah, are you guys ready? Here we go. The first ever Formula Drift Forza F7. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you ready to send it? Toyo Gambit, KNC Giraffe, Mustang versus Audi Wagon. This is the final battle of the day here on the streets of Long Beach. I'm Jarod Deanda. Thank you guys for having me. Let's send it, Long Beach.
Perfectly timed as we get set here. This is your final. Gambit in the lead. Giraffe giving chase. Let's see what these drivers can do. Gambit, good entry. Going to have Giraffe right there with him. Proximity is close, like we expected. Gambit getting a lot of quite to that first outer zone, but definitely all of that outer zone. It's Giraffe shoving into Gambit, going to be getting into the wall. Gambit backwards on the track. Not what you want to see in the final. Looks like Giraffe just got a bit too aggressive. He needed to do that. That was an area of the track where he needed to surge. He needed to really get aggressive on that chase. But just the way, especially the way he hit him too, just shoving Gambit. Gambit not being able to recover and losing control of his car. Not what you want to see in a final battle.
But to be honest, it's not that far-fetched. This has happened. You know, you get the angst, you get the buzz. You're there on the streets. You're about to win. You know, it's either first or second. You have two options, right? You're either going to win it or you're going to lose it. And you know, first place loser. It's like a no fear T-shirt. But KNC Giraffe pushed hard. You know, goes into him, goes into the wall. He knew who he's going against. He's seen him drive. You know, he knows who he is. And as you talk about, you know, the Audi wagon, he did make a mistake there, even on initiation. Gambit was looking good. I mean, it wasn't anything sensational. Didn't look like his line was going to be right on the wall of that second outer zone. And Giraffe, I think, expected that as well. I mean, keep looking at the replay here. You see Gambit initiate. They almost initiate at the same time. I'll go all the way out to that touch and go under the bridge. Pretty decent. And yeah, Giraffe, I mean, right now, you know, if we were to call fault right now and there's some contact, I would say that Giraffe was at fault there for sure.
And Giraffe putting in the second half of that battle of our final. Great job from Giraffe up in the lead position. Gambit did, again, Gambit, what I've been seeing from him today, Gambit been driving very, very, very smart. Was there, not like some other battles we've seen, was definitely there, definitely in the picture of this chase run. Didn't get super aggressive, but at that point, why do you need to? He's still there with Giraffe, still was close enough to not, I don't think we have even remotely the argument for an inactive chase. Giraffe, I think, did everything he needed to do in the lead position, but Gambit just playing it smart.
Yeah, a really great execution there. It's not the way you want to see it go down, but it just is what it is, right?
All right, so we do have a winner. I think if we can coordinate this haphazardly. I'm gonna see if we can announce third. Maybe we'll get Jarod to do first and second. The judge is calling for run 1 again. Gonna get that replay back up just to make sure that they're, you know, I'd rather them take some time and take a look at it and make sure everything's copacetic. But I mean, we do already have our winner for our third place battle. Waiting to announce that while we announce everybody.
Oh, okay.
All right, we do have a winner. I think they just needed to make sure they were satisfied with their choices. But since we already have third place, go ahead and announce the winner of the third place battle here. Again, one of the first times I can say that we've had official Formula Drift staff here with one of our Forza competitions. We've had some support before, but nothing like this. So again, before we announce our winners, just want to take some time to say thank you to Andy Hateley for spearheading this and for putting it on, and for giving us the call, for Westies for giving us the call to come and run production and commentate for it. Jarod, again, taking time out of your Saturday afternoon, having a couple drinks and hanging out with us, and then Brian Eggert, Brian doing a great job. And want to get, of course, a FD judge for some reason you have no idea. Andy Hateley, again, doing double duty in the judging booth. Westie's doing a lot of the work on getting this organized in terms of the Forza side. And then again, got to thank very much Rob for all the work he's done as the gate car and the driver wrangler. I think it could be the best way to put a job title to him. But our winner for our third place battle, I got a little excited. Of this event going between AOM Looney and Danny O'Dandretti. Gonna be seeing Looney grabbing the win there, taking third place over Dan. Great job for him, great result for him. Not quite what he was looking for, but to be on the podium of this event, he's gotta be pretty stoked on that.
Well, thank you guys and gals so much for coordinating this awesome experience. Thank you for my first ever Forza 7 and online competition. Burnouts will ensue, and a lot of tires have been killed. Fortunately, they're gigabytes and not real bits of tire. Hopefully to see you and, you guys can hear my voice in real life at one of 8 rounds of the Formula Drift competition. And thank you to Andy Hateley for reaching out. Thank you to Brian Eggert, Westies, you guys as well for announcing, coordinating this. The production was really fun and really awesome. And thank you for engaging in all of this. And now, your winner between 2 vehicles, one a wagon, one a Mustang, one named Giraffe, one named Gambit. All of a good time. Both vehicles having 4 wheels. Both here on the streets of Long Beach.
You're really pushing it.
As the sun sets. 4 different manufacturers enter the Final 4. All of them having a good time. How many beers have I drank? Quite a few. Maybe more than 7. Your winner at this competition, Forza 7 FD Long Beach 2020 is Toyo Gambit gets the win. Toyo Gambit gets the win. KNC Giraffe gets second place here at Forza 7 FD Long Beach 2020.
All right, now we have the whole gang here now. All of us up here. Everyone's hanging out with us. Guys, we have a winner. Gambit taking our win today, but for how this was planned and how quick this was put together, you see it in the chat of people saying this might be the event of the year, event of the season, event of one of the best events we've ever run here on Forza Motorsport.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd want to say thank you to Andy, Jarod, and Brian for actually joining in and doing a Forza stream with us and making the competition one of the funnest competitions I've had a part of, either running or running in. Like, this was amazing.
Yeah, thanks for being a part of this too, Wes. You really were integral in getting all these guys out here and making sure that we had, good drivers and a good show. So thanks, buddy. Thanks to Brian, the Aero guys. Thank you so much for making this a good production. We would have been lost without you guys. So thank you guys. Thanks again. And everybody else involved. That was, from the beginning when we were just talking about this on our Forza chat on Facebook. Just everybody who was helping out, sort of getting everything going, and big thanks to Bell One Racing for running our grid car, and yeah, I'm very impressed with everything. Hats off to all you guys.
Brian, anything you want to say for your first Forza?
For doing my first one, this was a blast. The driving was great. I thought it all went well. The production was awesome, so I'm excited to see what a little bit more prep time can make for all of this, and look forward to another one.
So you heard it here, guys. They're definitely down to do another round. So look out in the. Definitely going to be trying to do in qualifying and a more competitive environment. Hopefully this will be a thing we can keep doing in the future. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Aero, Jarod, anything y'all want to say?
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
You go ahead.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This was really fun, and I appreciate it. And any way I can help, definitely trying to just grow the sport in many different ways. And sometimes things aren't happening that you even know about, and something like this is eye-opening to an old guy like me. So I appreciate it, and thank you guys for having me be part of it.
I'm gonna let, because Ian's usually our lead commentator. He's been working really hard behind the scenes. I'll let him have the last word. But again, I can only speak for myself. But this was one of the best run tournaments, and considering none of you guys have done a Forza tournament before, everything went really, really, really well, really smooth. Technical issues were handled very well. Got to give a big shout out to Robert Lowry as well as the driver wrangler, because everything went about as smooth as I've seen a tournament go in a long time. Judging calls were great. Of course they will be, but the judging calls were great. Hats off to you guys, because this was, again, as people are saying in the live stream chat, probably one of the best competitive Forza tournaments we've had in a long time, if not ever.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I must say, from my standpoint, I'm going to make sure that this is actually going through on the stream, and it is awesome. I want to thank everybody for coming out today in the stream and supporting this awesome endeavor. It was a pipe dream for many to see this kind of viewership, rather, in a Forza drift scene. And, on behalf of everybody who was a part of it, we cannot thank you enough. So, again, Ian Plash, I've been your producer today. Keenan Kusin, your lead commentator. Jarod Deanda, our special guest commentator. Got to give you a huge shout out. Thank you for coming out today. Robert Lowry was our track staff, along with our judges, Andy Hateley, Michael Westies, Lindsay, and Brian Eggert. This was a fun endeavor. We enjoyed every second of it, and we hope in the future you will have us again for more exciting virtual rubber shredding here on Forza Motorsport 7. Again, guys, on behalf of the entire staff, thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to our winners. We will see you next time here on Forza Motorsport 7. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. Stay safe.